Welcome back, folks, and before the commercial break, we saw Quadrant back in action and in full swing here at the HCS EU Regional Finals, taking their first series in a sweep, 3-0 against Scorched Hand. Might just be the ticket for fans at home backing their French favourites in this tournament. They started hot on CTF Aquarius, getting 3 caps back-to-back, went on with the dub as well. And I'll tell you what, they sealed the deal on Catalyst Slayer by avoiding a very near comeback from Scorched. They kept cool, calm, and collected the bag eventually on Stronghold's Livefire, where they left nothing in the tank and left their first pool play match with the confidence they need to go on forward in this tournament. My goodness me, Quadrant, they are out for blood. You know, I think what happened in Pro Series to them after having that top spot in a Pro Series, knocking, you know, the righteous champions for the entire season off that pedestal, and coming back and bouncing back was something that I think they really, really needed. And that first series has, I think, really sealed the deal in terms of confidence for this team. But speaking of teams, we have 2 more coming up very shortly. We have also results on the board, and I want to see some of the pools to see what has been going on. We also have 2 streams going on, so we have had games simultaneously. We can see Pool A filling up slightly. We've seen Ascend 1-0. We've seen Reclaimer 0-0. NAVI is going to be coming up very shortly, as well as Blackhand have already had a match against Diamond Dogs and have succeeded 1-0. So that's going to make this one, I think, all the more interesting, Jersey.
Yeah, for sure. I think Blackhand win this against NAVI. They're favourites to top the groups. That is huge for them. And up until recently, they've been the top 4 seeds, so they've gotten top 4 in the last 2 open series, so they have it all to do here. NAVI, they have not looked great online, it must be said, so NAVI need to impress.
They do indeed. I've got my own Pool D as well. I want to see where J Lings are at. Obviously coming into Pool D as first seed there. What can they do with that? You know, who's going to be coming up to try and push them off that pedestal as well? Hopefully heading into the winners bracket tomorrow. Lots of questions, lots of answered, lots of gaps to be filled in that pool. We will update those. Moving back though to what we're going to be seeing on this main stage very shortly. We do have NAVI versus Blackhand. Both teams very eager for this series win. Let's find out how they're feeling heading into this tournament and into their first match of pool play today.
David Finn, and my gamer tag is GloryGGs, and I play for Blackhand.
There's not a single, there's no season on that whatsoever. That's bland. Like
that is not a kebab I would ever agree with, so maybe Glory can do us a favor.
Oh! 20 points in counting, just 10 needed from Kimbo, and he's got sniping in. You know he wants to put it to work. He's actually going to drop the ball and do just that.
Yeah, we played Blackhand a couple times in scrims before. A good part about Blackhand is their power weapon control, so we know what to expect.
It's a difficult setup to break momentarily, and Mista hit the headshot. Kill that gets away is massive because it's a 1-kill game, Jersey.
Melee comes through to secure and make sure it remains a 1-kill game. 2 Foxy locks in 2, looking for the 3rd, and he gets it, carves a hole straight through the heart of Quadrant. It's a 3-kill game.
I'm very excited to play against NAVI because we've been scrimming against them a lot, and I feel like a lot of the matches we have, I learn a lot about myself and the team. The matches we have are always very interesting. Sometimes they're very close, or they go one way or the other, and I don't know, I just feel like it's a really good matchup. Let's go.
The chances of getting back into this game.
Can't hit the shot, but the second one comes true. Morga's face is ripped off, gives him a taste of his...
Let's go. That's exactly what Kimbo said.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go.
It's easy as that. He's just ready to do the deed on the stage. I'm excited about this one, like they said, and like Glory actually mentioned as well. Things have been close when it comes to scrims. He's hoping for a really good series on that main stage. He's hoping to fight for this win. When it comes to this NAVI roster, though, they've been looking pretty good as of late. Obviously, making that change with Mighty's coming on board, it really has done a number on this squad, and I think it's due to the fact that they're able to control a lot more, I think, with Mighty's. You know, he is somebody that is moldable, but also extremely talented. And I think the likes of 2 Foxy wanting to do in terms of strategy-wise what he wants to do with the team and how he thinks the game should be played, that's kind of coming together now. And we're seeing them all on the same page.
Yeah, it was definitely a rocky start for NAVI. There's no doubt about it. I think finishing top 8 or top 6, one of their worst finishes ever. So they've gone from strength to strength, and they're now finding with Mighty's a player that they can mold, they can shape. He's eager to learn. He has no ego. So whatever 2 Foxy and Jimbo tell him, he's willing to do it for the team, and he's so fast, he's so accurate with his gun, and Jimbo loves to bait and switch with him, and that's something that I expect to see these 2 pivoting off one another.
Indeed. Now, I have a bit of a question here as well, Bob, because something that I've noticed is 2 biggest weaknesses for these teams is they're not very good at playing the numbers game. they're often outnumbered, and that's a problem. What happens when two teams have the same weakness? What does that look like, and how does it translate?
Yeah, I think it comes down to little things at that point, right? I mean, Halo Infinite is a game about the numbers, more so than any Halo title before it. You can essentially look at how many are alive for each side, look at the numbers of percentage-wise who had almost like a ball possession stat, who had more players alive for the rest of the match. Oh, you can almost always guarantee, unless there's some strange outlier, that that team is going to win the game. So I think then it comes down to little nuances, right? Did the player who picked up rockets connect with both? Did the player who had the ball top C last alive, did he play the ball? Little things like that start to become the bigger difference makers.
Small little margins, people. We've talked about it before. It really is a huge difference maker. In terms of Blackhand, though, on the other side of things, obviously gunning for that win. They want to prove everybody wrong. They want to knock NAVI down early doors. You know, they're all main slayers on their previous rosters. This really is a big jumble of players coming together who are all very talented, but did have that main slayer role from top 4 to 12 in their own rosters. How does that look in terms of objective work, though? You know, how is that going to translate, especially coming up against NAVI, who are very strategy-based?
I think they'll be fine with it. I think at this point in the game, everybody knows to win certain games, you've got to do the objective right now. So it sounds like a very, very simple thing to do. But, you know, there's a couple of players on this team that you want to talk about. I think one's Glory that we'll go into in a little bit, but Ebby as well. I think Ebby's been a player who's put up some really good numbers, but I'd like to see him get his hands a little bit dirty sometimes, you know, get a little bit dirt under the nails, you know, find himself having to have a good scrub at the end of the day. And that means jumping in strongholds. That means taking a death for the team to create space, whatever that might be. If he can do that, he's going to create space for the rest of the team to do the work that needs to be done. And I think those little nuances, like you were talking about, are going to be vital in this series, and something that teams like NAVI and Blackhand have struggled against some of the bigger teams. They lose those pivotal moments, and you can't afford to do that if you want success. Indeed, you cannot afford to. Something that is also going to be pivotal is knowing what you're coming up against. Let's take a peek at the series layout to see exactly what we're going to be going through in this series. Shozi, is there anything that's jumping out to you right now in terms of weakness or maybe a strength for either team?
I think Slayer Catalyst, is going to be a struggle for NAVI. I think they're a team that has struggled in the past with this game type. Flag they're a little bit better with, but with Catalyst not so much. And I think Blackhand might thrive in the chaos. CTF Aquarius, I would have said with Respectful there was a struggle, but ever since Mighties has come on board, he's been playing a lot faster with the team, and we've seen their results improve. We have indeed seen their results improve. Yeah, Onset, noticing anything here? I think from the series layout, the good thing is here, apart from Slayer Catalyst, which I think is kind of a 50-50 game type a little bit at the moment, they're all game types. There's no King of the Hill in there, which I think for a team like NAVI, who have been playing as a core 3 for quite some time now, they will be very happy with, because it gives them time to feel their way into the series. They know the roles that they have to do. They've been there, they've had the defeats, they've had the wins. And I think no other team more than NAVI that we have here in Europe at the moment needs to be on the same page and trust each other in game. If they do that, we've seen what they can do in Pro Series. We saw that series against Quadrant. They just absolutely wiped the floor with them. And it looked like, oh my God, this is the NAVI we've been waiting for. But at the same time, you could see them in the scrim in the week and they don't win a game. And it's like, it's such a strange juxtaposition of what to expect from NAVI. It's almost as if you can't expect anything because they haven't shown us a consistent level to expect. So I think this is a really big series for them. And I want to see them come out of the gates hot. I want to see them take this 3-0. And I want to see them kind of send a little bit of a shockwave through the rest of the teams who've already performed today. Yeah, I think you make such a huge point there about NAVI. The fact that we don't actually know properly what to expect yet. We haven't had enough time visually looking at this roster and seeing what they can actually do properly as a team. But that will hopefully translate onto this main stage very shortly. We will get an idea heading to the next couple of days what to expect from this roster. Let's actually talk about two individuals in particular. We did actually note and talk about them a little bit earlier on in the pre-show, and that's going to be Mighties and Glory. These two, we talked about them, what they can do, their strengths, what they're capable of. But as a direct comparison here, Shozi, what are you looking at for these two? Why do they kind of come up and go against each other and head-to-head so well? Well, both these players are actually on very similar trajectories in their career. Both Mighties and Glories have made the name not from fours in the past, but actually from FFA. Both qualified for KC, went over and played that way, and that was how they've earned basically the plaudits they've gotten. I think Glory is a very young, hungry player and has potential and a very high ceiling, and he's a kid that reminds me of Mighties in many ways, because both of them have very similar personalities. They're eager to learn, there's no ego, and they've got level heads on their shoulders. So when teammates tell them to do things, they will do it, they'll listen, and they'll move as a team.
They will indeed.
Off the back of that, I think Mighty's for this Na'Vi lineup was a godsend, and not just because of his ability, but I think you mentioned personality, right? This guy's nuts. Like, I sit and listen to their scrims sometimes, and like, he is so funny to listen to. Like, and I'm not just talking about if he gets a triple kill or overkill, he'll just start screaming. It's when he does something stupid as well. He'll be like, "Oh no, like I died, dude." It's so funny. Like, sometimes when you've got such a pressurized environment like Na'Vi where everyone's expecting them to do so much, you need someone like that just to take the pressure off, just to reset the mental game a little bit. Plus, he's talented as hell, this guy. Like, he is, like Shazzy said, he's so fast, he's so confident, and I really think he's looking forward to this as much as anyone.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he is ready to be able to kind of achieve things with this team, and I think that's exactly why he is moldable. He wants, you know, he's come onto this roster. I've heard on good authority in terms of, you know, people we know speaking to players that he came on board and was like, "What do you need me to do?" And they were like, "That's amazing. We love that attitude because we can do so much with it, and you're so talented," which makes a huge, huge difference here. We have known that Na'Vi are the pace dictators at times, and they have done that really well. However, when their pacing is off, things do tend to crumble. How do you feel about this series in terms of the pacing, Brav, and the matchup that we're seeing on the stage?
Yeah, I think for a lot of them, it's going to be looking at those first two game types and really making sure that they are the ones that are dictating the pace, slowing things down when they need to, especially on the Slayer Catalyst. If you ask me, even though their game type record might not be the best on it, it is a game type where you can really reset in the back of your base. You could say, okay, we're down by 6, right? We're going to push gold here. And it's the one map in Halo Infinite where you actually get to do things like that. So I think they need to look to set the pace. I think, interestingly, they're also thinking about, hey, we are not, if you ask Na'Vi where they're going to be, right, they're not even sure where they're going to be seated here just because there's so many question marks around the team. So I think it's an opportunity for them to also pace set and tone set for the weekend as well, without a doubt. I think on the back of that as well, if you're talking about the pacing, I think it's the one thing that Na'Vi's success is based on, right? You look at the two ends of the spectrum, right? You have 2Foxy at one end, super hyper aggressive, loves to get in the face, always thinking about the next thing to be done. And in the other end, you have Kimbo, who's kind of the cover fire, right? He's the anchor. They play a little bit, he plays around with the rest of the team. The discrepancy between how the pace at which those two players are playing is the secret to success for me. Right. If 2Foxy's playing hyper-aggressive, Kimbo needs to back it. And if Kimbo is in a position where he can pick up kills and do damage, 2Foxy just needs to slow down a little bit. So keep an eye out for those two, how they're working together, because if they click, I'm telling you, this Na'Vi roster is still very, very dangerous.
This is a very difficult game for Na'Vi. We've already seen Ascend 3-0, we've seen Quadrant 3-0, we've seen Online Warriors 3-1, so all the top teams have gotten off to a fast start. Blackhand, probably the toughest ask of any of the teams, the toughest opponent any of those teams have faced. Yeah. Blackhand can get the job done here if Na'Vi are not careful.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well, talking about the pacing here, because I feel like there is a lot of pressure on the pace of this team and what individual players can do. You mentioned Kimbo there on set. Kimbo has actually come under fire, especially when Respectful was on the roster, that previous Na'Vi roster. People said he played too slow, and at certain times the pace wasn't being dictated accordingly. I think there were problems within the team about the pacing as well, and what people wanted to do and how aggressive people should be as well on this team. Do you feel like with Mighty's coming into the mix here as well, do you feel like that pacing issue has been corrected, it has been kind of worked on, and Kimbo's now kind of understanding what he needs to do with the rest of the team and it's fitting better?
I think he's taking a bit of pressure off the shoulders of some of the players because he is a player who likes to engage, who likes to play fast, but also it's still the issue will still be there because it's not just Kimbo, it's also if two players are playing too fast, they don't have numbers, they're never going to have the numbers to win a team fight. So it's all of these little things with Na'Vi, but we have seen when they get on the same page, like I mentioned, they look like they have this insane ceiling, but it's just too infrequent. And that's the biggest issue with them. It seems like as soon as the pacing gets off, they get down on themselves. And they're like, oh, we're not doing this, we're not doing this. I need you to do this. Why aren't you doing this? Instead of, I'm going to take the responsibility of myself here. I know I've played this situation too slow. I know I've played this situation too fast. My bad, boys. Let's change it for the next time that we get in that position and let's adjust on the fly.
I think somebody we don't talk about too often on Na'Vi is Jimbo. And actually how much this roster change has done for him in particular. He really has just been able to flourish with this roster change. I've seen some ridiculous plays from him, you know, veteran plays coming across the board, the decision-making, punishing people going for Ovi, but making the perfect read to do so. And then the comms coming forward from the team to be able to back that decision he's making. The trust, I feel, is there. What do you make of Jimbo overall, Brav, in terms of what he's able to accomplish so far in the Pro Series with the change?
Yeah, Jim's nuts. He's so good at this game, right? I mean, he's absolutely unlimited potential for him. I think this is the best he's looked in a long time. I mean, even when we run games with Jim, we're just like, my God, this guy is just so good at this game. And I think also it really matters what the comms are like around him, right? I think, you know, Jim's a guy who likes to smile, have a good time, right? Same with 2Fox. I think the addition on the team is going to have the comms a little bit lighter. I think it's easy for things to get serious when you've had tough results like NAVI had since the game dropped. So I think this is a big reset opportunity for them.
He's a big confidence player, Jim, as well. You know, he's a quite unassuming guy a lot of the time, and kind of, as you say, kind of goes around his Jim, right? He's Jimbo. But he thrives off of people around him. If he's sat in a lobby where Robbie's going, nice, dude, like, nice, let's go. Like, all of a sudden, Jim's confidence, he comes off spawn, he knows what he wants to do. He take a fight. Yep. Whereas if things start to get a little bit negative, then Jim's like, ooh, what do I do off spawn here? I don't know, you know, I don't want to do this wrong. And it's all a kind of a mental game for him. I think he's one of the best players still in Europe. I think he just needs the confidence to kind of be breathed through him as from his teammates to really fulfill his potential in this game.
And Mikey's has been just that, hasn't he? He's been the breath of fresh air for Jim, because now he has that partner, that duo he's willing to bait and switch with. I've seen them on Catalyst flag countless times, push together as a team. We've seen 2Foxy go in, get the entry damage, but he finally has players that will follow him in behind him. We're seeing Mikey's get in, get his hands dirty, like you said you wanted to see from Ebby. So Jim is one of those players, like you say, he's unassuming, but he goes about his business, and when his team are performing well, Jim normally thrives.
He does indeed. NAVI thrives when they are all performing well, and Mighty's is a big part of that. He's been getting huge openers, ridiculous kills, triple kills across the board, where they're able to hold different placements across many different maps. So it's exciting to see, you know, really what this change has done for this roster. But can it transition onto LAN? We're going to find out in just a moment. We're heading over to our two wonderful casters. We have Clutch and Gaskin on the mics as we get into this next match.
Thank you so much, Lottie. Yes, this is and should be the closest game that we've had so far today, especially when we look at the two seeds that are competing right now. The analysts have put it perfectly, right? NAVI, what are they going to be like compared to the other big teams? You've got a lot of pressure here on Mighties.
A lot of pressure and not a lot of fond memories of LAN as of recent, right? I know a very disappointing performance from Kansas City, but there's a lot to be excited about as NAVI fans, as NAVI players. Redemption. You're not going to play against the same quality of teams that you were playing over against at North America, but more importantly, you made a team change, and since then, it feels like you've got some momentum behind it.
Yeah, and I think momentum is going to be an important factor, is something that Onset was saying about Jim. He's one of those players who does feed from that momentum that's being projected by the rest of the squad, but to get there first, you really have to have a hot start, and you heard during the interviews, I mean, Glory was saying we've had pretty good scrim results against NAVI. They've been very close games, and he's not wrong. Over the last couple of weeks when they've been playing against each other, it has been hit or miss, depending on who takes what. Seeing that series layout, I think it's a very good opportunity that Blackhand have here to take down a NAVI roster in this best of 5. But that being said, in the last competitive game they had in Pro Series, NAVI did take the victory. They will have that confidence going into it.
Yeah, there's a reason why we think this game is going to be close, why Blackhand has such a good seed coming into this tournament. But for NAVI, all the eyes are on them, right, Dan? And the big thing for me here is how are they going to start this tournament with Mighties? How is he going to find his footing on land in a big tournament environment? It's a very young career, very early in his career, and often things can get out of control very quickly. You're not able to play at your best, so how quickly can he find himself comfortable? We're hopping into game 1. It's going to be Aquarius CTF, and I think this is a great opportunity for NAVI to find their footing in this tournament, because typically this one goes the distance.
That being said, in the most recent scrim last week, Blackhand did beat NAVI 5-3, so they know how to capture flags against NAVI, but it's a matter of doing it in a LAN environment, in a competitive environment. Let's see whether Blackhand can take the game here against NAVI.
All right, let's start it on with the young superstar in Mighties. What kind of an impact can he make early for NAVI? He's already up pink. This one should be an easy kill. Unfortunately, the melee just not close enough, but the shots rang true. He's found himself a camo as well. Slays in the hands of NAVI to pair with it. So map control, camo in Mighty's hands. This is a phenomenal opportunity for the boys.
But it's about what you do with this camouflage now. Mighty's knows there's a lot of responsibility. He's trying to give information, just needs to avoid these grenades. Has to stay alive at this point, especially now he's seen Kimbo go down.
You gotta know those nades are coming from the spawners over towards the pink side. They're not gonna pull it just yet. They're gonna slay once more. Mighty's gets the kill. Another one goes down as well. But so much fire coming into him, and unfortunately, He's the guy that's trying to run the flag there. You want to see him stay alive, but that flag, it's still on the move.
It's moving. 3 were dead for Blackhand as well, so Foxy should be able to get this a considerable distance. Just has to try and dance around a few grenades, but Jimbo's doing work on the other side of the map. It looks like they've got into a position where as long as they get one more kill here, it should be a flat cap.
We talk about the veteranship needed for NAVI to succeed. Foxy making a veteran play there to stop running the flag, stay alive, even finds a kill. That's NAVI going up 1-0 early now. He does go down, but that's a phenomenal start for NAVI, a cap in the first minute.
And if we learn anything from scrims between these two teams, it's that flag caps will happen. We will see a lot of them. This could be very back and forth, unless suddenly, when we get into a LAN environment, NAVI just come out of their shell and turn into a different team. And we know they have that capability, right? We've been waiting for NAVI to step up, to be that team that we've been expecting them to be. And perhaps this is finally going to be the good showing we've wanted.
And look at this, even with NAVI having 2 members down, Z-Mighties is going to be able to get that flag almost to halfway. A wise decision to stop pulling it. And with that, if he can find a slate, keep this flag alive, they can go up 2-0. Mighty's with phenomenal damage onto a first, finds a second with a beautiful grenade, bottom Dynamos. Unfortunately, he is going to get taken down. The flag is reset, but Mighty's doing just about everything he could there.
Yeah, nice movement from Mighty's as well. Very aware of where other people were. Had tabs on 3 different players, and he had a damage output on all of them as well. That's what you want from a teammate, an aggressive teammate, to making sure they are doing that damage. Jimbo's got another camouflage, so that's 2 for 2 here for NAVI, and he'll be looking to try and do a little bit of damage here before he gets a flag ball potentially.
They touched on it on the desk in the analytics department. Foxy, he's been having a great time with Mighty's as his teammate, and already up to 7 kills. Unfortunately, Jimbo's going to go down to Foxy as well. So the NAVI push, it subsided. Black can keep this at a 1-0 game. They're going to be able to get map control for what feels like the first time now here on Aquarius CTF. They need to figure out ways to weather the storm because NAVI have come out hot.
Blackhand have done very well, Wes, though, with their grenades off spawn. When they go 3 or 4 dead, from the fridge side, they've been able to bank those nades off the top and onto the flag, which is where NAVI have really struggled because they find themselves one shot. Here's those grenades again off spawn, Mister being able to take down Jim. NAVI are doing well to get into the base, but they just have to face a barrage of nades when they try and escape.
On the bright side, though, Dan, look at how aggressive NAVI is being. We always struggle with saying NAVI doesn't play fast enough. NAVI always takes their time, right? This is a different NAVI so far, right? Most of these combat loops have gone down in the Blackhand base. This shows me that they're picking up the pace a little bit. I love this out of them. Jimbo on the flank, he's able to find one, or it's Kimbo, I'm sorry. Picks up the dynamo grenades, and wisely, gonna just try and stay alive. Not playing too aggressive, right? Understands the situation perfectly, and I love the fact that he's going to be able to just hold the middle of the map.
And a lot of that aggression does stem from the new addition of Mighty's, who's been saying that. He can just be that little bit of extra oomph they needed to push them through, to take those risks. Having that new young talent, ever since he got to the finals of the Kansas City free-for-all Mighty's, he demonstrated that he can do it on the biggest stages.
All right, Mighty's with another flag in hand already. Multiple flags he's been able to pull, get the objective going. So not just a slaying presence for this NAVI roster. He is going to get one before getting taken down. They are going to be able to hop the return is Blackhand, and I believe they're going to be able to get that return, but once again, it's just so difficult. They actually get a touch too, Dan. Jimbo able to fly in there at the last second, get that touch, keep that flag alive, and now with multiple members of Blackhand stuck in the closet, this is going to be a difficult one to contest.
Not only a great heads-up play from Jimbo, but the hold from Foxy just constantly peeking. Now Kimbo going to finish off this run. Will get taken down because of a back-to-back. 2 and 2 alive at the moment, so this is going to be a really big kill. Whoever gets the first entry, as it were, and it's going to be Mister, gets a double, and now Blackhand, it's all down to Ebby to try and save this.
Jimbo with another big touch before he gets taken down. Ebby's with his hands full, got to get another one. He finds at least a double kill throughout this loop, and because of it, they should be able to get this return. Unfortunately, nobody on Blackhand in quite a position to get that return. They are going to get a few slays in their favor. Kimbo, the last guy alive, needs to play his life, and now Blackhand had the first real opportunity at a flag run.
Kimbo had to let that one go. Oh, almost gets thrusted behind, but Kimbo knew that he had to just let it go and ensure that he gets a kill to help the rest of the team. Dynamo could take the rest of the damage, but certainly Blackhand doing a lot better now to stem this NAVI attack.
I love how Kimbo played that too, slow. He knew he was the last guy alive. That flag was dead. He's able to get a kill and stop any real opportunity for Blackhand at the time. Unfortunately for NAVI fans, that Blackhand flag still on the move right now as they've been able to inch it towards their closet. Unfortunately, that was 4 dead momentarily. It looks like Navi's going to be able to get this return. So Blackhand, unfortunately, your first real opportunity, it gets shut down. NAVI, we know they're good at defense. It stands strong here.
It was a good attempt by Blackhand, but unfortunately the spawners of Na'Vi too good with their grenades as well to be able to shut that flag move down. We really are seeing the importance of grenades and how effective they can be in the right hands, but that's good teamwork to ensure Kimbo got taken down, but on the other side, 3 dead for Blackhand.
Kimbo's my guy to watch for Na'Vi this tournament. He's one of the quiet players so far on this team throughout Infinite. He's a guy that I know when he's playing on fire, he's capable of such great things. Mighty with another flag on the run. And I love the fact that the young gun is playing the objective as well. His positioning has got to be on point in order to do so. And look at this, with one more kill with the guy in their base, they should be able to cap it. But as I say that, 3 dead for Na'Vi, and it looks like Blackhand are going to get a counter cap opportunity here.
Blackhand get the return. Mighty's was the last player remaining. He got taken down. Now Evie can run it and also pick up the Dynamo. So this is the best chance they'll ever have at capturing a flag. You've got all of the pieces to the puzzle. Now you've just got to put them in.
Two players to deal with from Na'Vi in their base. Are they going to let him just run it in? Epi just wisely gets the flag cap, and now Na'Vi, although they get the kill, it's too late. The game's tied up. They get a flag pull of their own, but will it amount to anything? We'll have to see.
Lunny now on the other side of the base does get a little bit of a run going, but Kimbo is there to stop him. That heat wave has done so much damage regardless of whose hands it's in, and now Glory has a big responsibility here. You can't go too desperate for the flag, otherwise you will find yourself dead, but that's a good return.
Good positioning there to play around the corner to where they can't see you. The nades not good enough for Na'Vi this time around. The pistol, not good enough for Glory. He's forced to trade in a situation where you think he's going to get that kill. Maybe open up some opportunity once again for Blackhand, but I love the fact that although Na'Vi started out hot, Dan, Blackhand are right back in this one and they tied it up.
Yeah, they didn't let it dishearten them at all, Blackhand. Very good response. I think they know they are on a close enough playing field with Na'Vi. There's no way that they think that Na'Vi are the better squad here, and I think that speaks volumes for the potential this Blackhand roster has. You think about what Na'Vi have been able to achieve historically in Halo, and Glory just about gets that one done. I thought for a second a couple of those shots might have whiffed.
The entry pick still for Glory. Although it wasn't pretty, the job got done still. Unfortunately, his flag's on the move. It's Mighty once again pulling the flag. It's got to be the 10th flag run for Mighty in this solo game. And wisely, Mighty gets this flag to halfway and continues to drop it and try and slay. A couple of members of Blackhand are coming off respawns. The Na'Vi should have better positioning in order to try and advance this flag even further. But just as I say that too, Foxy tries to do it without slaying the last 2. They're able to get the kill, and we'll see if Blackhand can get the return here.
Mighty's is still alive. He was the one who ran that flag originally, but Lunny,
what a nade.
What a grenade that was. The placement absolutely impeccable, and now we're going to see them get the return. Blackhand have got a response for Na'Vi every single time here, Wes.
The money nade from Lunny gets the double onto the camo player, shuts down the run, and now Lunny with the flag in hand has an opportunity with 3 dead for Na'Vi to take the lead here. 3 minutes left as well, Dan, so if this goes in, Navi's going to feel a lot of pressure.
Lunny makes the runny, but you've got to walk out of those grenades. You've got to make sure they don't do too much damage. Also, someone has to be in the base in case you go down, but it's going to be Blackhand taking the lead here against Na'Vi. I said they've done it in scrims. They knew they had the capability to come back here against Na'Vi. Despite an early start, 3 minutes remaining, Blackhand have the lead.
And if you're taking a look at the stats, Na'Vi were so far ahead in the slaying category halfway through this game, but since then, Blackhand doing such a phenomenal job to get some kills, get some map control, and you've seen how that's transitioned in the score. They got another flag on the run. I believe there's one player to deal with by the flag. He's actually going to take the low route. Ebby not able to trade that one, and that was a massive kill from Mighties to potentially keep this at a 2-1 game.
That game could have been over right there if the third flag had been on the run, because you know Navi's heads could have well dropped because of it, but they get the return. They still have a couple of minutes left here to work with, and they need to just make sure they slay out Blackhand before they make these runs. I know Mighty's been making a lot of runs with the flag, but they've left themselves in 2 versus 2s, but here comes Kimbo.
What a heads-up play to check the overextenders there. They catch 2 players from Blackhand front their base. Unfortunately, missed a Glory. They find kills. Not only that, they got a flag on the move, and Kimbo, he's left the flag top. Dynamos, it's going to be returned. Kimbo in such a terrible position from that point on, and because of it, now we're looking at a 3-1 lead with 1:50 on the clock. Na'Vi, although they started off hot, the pressure's on.
Camo's just popped. Who was able to grab it? Can it be the difference maker? Na'Vi have to speed everything up. It is Mighty's, does find another. But these flags have to start moving and grooving for Na'Vi, and they need to find more success. Blackhand can afford to play a little bit more defensive. They've got a 1 flag cushion that they can work with.
It's a difficult place for Mighties to be in there. He's going to be blocking the pink spawns momentarily. Missed a was caught out in the closet, but they weren't able to get that kill. It's up to Mighties to find the first pick. Unfortunately, it's traded from Jimbo. Lunny also going down. So Navi with numbers could be able to continue to advance this flag. If they need to, Dan, they have to be able to punch this one in. And there's 2 members to deal with here for 2Foxy. Can he get a touch on that flag? Unfortunately, he doesn't really go for it. Instead, chooses the dynamo grenades, and that gave enough time for Blackhand to get the return.
And suddenly that clock is becoming a factor here. Navi, they have to move, but off spawn, Kimbo's already being challenged by Ebby, finished by Glory, and Blackhand know all they need is map control at this point, and they'll be going 1-0 up in this series.
Look at the teamwork out of Blackhand, the assist for Lunny and Ebby here, 15 and 12. Absolutely showing out to create the difference so far here in game 1. And this has got to be Blackhand taking game 1. If you thought this was going to be a close series, the fact that Blackhand able to come out the way they did, take game 1, Dan, that is a phenomenal start for them.
And I've seen flags move quickly, but 20 seconds for 2 caps on Aquarius, very unlikely at this point, especially with how well Blackhand are defending. Look at this from Glory, backing out of the fight, re-engaging once more just to delay that push so Foxy can't get a touch. And I think Blackhand are starting to realize they are going to be leading this series.
Absolutely, Blackhand weathering the storm that Navi threw at them early on. 2Foxy was as hot as anybody to start that one off, slowed down, and it was all Blackhand from there on out. Man, what a game 1, what a series we have in store. I wondered if we were going to get a good one on the broadcast today. Just, you know how pools go sometimes, Dan, and I'll already know that this Blackhand team, they're going to make this one interesting. It's up to Navi to respond.
When I saw that series layout and I saw Capture the Flag Aquarius and I was diving into the scrim results, I was thinking, hold on a second. There is definitely a chance here for Blackhand, and their scrim successes on Capture the Flag Aquarius have translated into LAN competition, and that is always a very good sign for a team. Anyone who is not flopping is suddenly, when you get into that competitive environment, means that they should still find the same successes on other maps that they were enjoying during the online environments as well.
Now you're in a tough situation if you're Navi. You're going into a game 2, which is almost a must-win if you don't want to cause the reverse sweep, force the reverse sweep, and Catalyst Slayer, it seems like one of those game types that's a little bit more difficult to control for just about every team, right? You get off to an early lead, you gain momentum, I feel like on Catalyst, with some of the weapons, some of the equipment, you can really start to run away with this. So Navi needs to come out hot here in game 2, Dan, and I'm very concerned about the opportunity that they're going to have here in this series if they don't.
And the desk were in agreement that Navi may be not so comfortable on Slayer Catalyst, excuse me, I'm all over the place as we watch replays from Capture the Flag Aquarius, but I'll dive into that a little bit more as we watch back some replays, because it was the incredible start from Navi, and maybe we were thinking, okay, perhaps these scrim results aren't going to pay dividends, and maybe Navi are going to come out hot, but the response from Blackhand was astounding.
Absolutely unbelievable, and I think somebody we got to point out is Glory, right? We talk about how big of a superstar Mighties is going to be, how much individual talent he is, the up-and-comer that he is in the scene. Well, with every new Halo game, it's about halfway through the season, you start to recognize some players that are going to make the next 3-5 years a legacy for their own. And Glory, he's been known to be one of those young talents, and you wonder how good he is. Well, that game 1 showed you anything. Glory can play with some of the best in Europe.
So 2 quick things. Originally, Strongholds was what we assumed was going to be the series layout, and Onset said it's a good thing King of the Hill is not featuring. Well, there's news that King of the Hill will be featuring. That could be very bad news for Navi. But first, they have to play Slayer Catalyst, and a good news for Navi fans, they did beat Blackhand recently in a scrim 50-42 just a week ago. So they know how to take down Blackhand. They will be somewhat confident, but at the same time, after losing that game 1, suddenly that pressure floods all the way over to the boys in black and yellow.
Look at that, Lunny, just, we can do this. I remember having those moments as a player where you win game 1 in a series where you're the underdog, and you look over at your teammates and go, we are the better team. We can actually create this. Let's see if they can keep this momentum going. We're hopping into game 2. It's going to be Catalyst, Slayer, and this one's a tough one for Navi. It's not necessarily their best game type, and they're going to have to figure out a way to have success, and I think it starts with that skewer, with that sword, but more importantly, overshield control typically dictates the pace of the game. It's with the recent buff, Dan, just such a massive opportunity, but here we go. Glory, the man of game 1. What can you do for it? And look at this, Blackhand sending multiple bogeys front their base, trying to compete for overshield, while Navi decided to expand towards the wings.
Foxy will choose to burn it. No, he stays on. Manages to do a little cha-cha slide and stay on the map, but gets shut down eventually anyway. But it's a 3-1 lead for Blackhand. And already we're seeing them show similar aggression to what we saw at the end of Aquarius.
Such a frustrating moment there for 2Foxy, right? You're taking so much damage, so much attention. You think you're going to be able to win the break. Well, no, Blackhand picking up right where they left off at the end of game 1. They've got the lead. It's still narrow as 7-5, but Jimbo with the skewer can change that one. The game slows down for now.
This is where you want to get into those tight angles where you can hit these shots, but he puts the skewer away. He doesn't even take the shot in the end, and frustration does sit on the face of Jimbo ever so slightly there, but at least the teammates were there to get a couple of frags their way. And this is the player you want to have a skewer. Kimbo and a sniper rifle is a good news for NAVI here.
All right, so NAVI, as the game slows down, yes, they're down to 1 kill, 8-9, but they have skewer, they have sword, and what should be map control here on Catalyst. How are they going to look to push and expand this sandbox in their favor? Unfortunately, players getting traded is not what you want to see when you have that kind of power in your hands. A one-on-one is not what you want to take either. Jimbo, Kimbo, they get taken down.
We'll be seeing Ebby now on your screen having the skewer to work with. And a fantastic chance to try and extend this lead. Top middle can sometimes be a really good position to try and catch out people as well. I think as this map develops, people realize what a power position top middle can be. You do expose yourself, but at the same time, you can catch people off guard.
Yeah, and Overshield's coming up in 2 seconds, Dan. We'll see how they're able to position themselves. Unfortunately, Epi just taking damage from multiple players. Backs down, it's an easy kill for NAVI. That is exactly the kill you need when you need it, because Overshield being up could be exactly how you swing momentum back in your favor. 2Foxy looking to be aggressive with the sword now, and he's gotten behind a player. He's able to use that player to get out of dodge as well. So the lunge, not only does it give him a kill, it allows him to stay alive in that situation. And now a bait and switch opportunity for NAVI here, trying to push back towards the middle of the map. All 4 players for Blackhand to try and deal with, and as 2Foxy gets the killing spree, he's created the opening.
Yeah, they're desperately searching for Foxy as well. Eventually they find him, they take down the sword, but NAVI have been able to take a lead here, 15-13, and Blackhand slightly on the back foot will retreat back into one of the bases and reassess how they want to push. Lunny, the last player remaining outside, does get caught out, and perhaps he didn't get the memo that they were going back into the base.
Yeah, Glory trying to stop the pressure that was coming from NAVI. Does a good job to back a couple players down. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to deal with Mighties unless he hits some great shots. Can he 1v2? Kimbo finally finishes him, but the damage has been done, and they're able to trade out successfully in a position that they had no business trading out, Dan.
Spike nades and sword for Evie to work with, and that should be Foxy firmly getting eliminated, but he might use the repulsor to stay on the map ever so slightly. Does get shut down eventually. I wonder whether we'll see similar grapple plays from what we saw Shady demonstrate to us a little bit earlier. Under, over, Pepsi Cola. Doesn't matter where you go with it, you can really surprise your opponents, but 20-18, everything's slowing down once more.
Let's hop in board with a listen in here with NAVI. See how they decide to play this. The map is slow, but Jimbo, he finds the first hit.
I'm good.
Oh, it's inside.
Good news, sword, boys. We play both sides.
No more left. He's a skewer grapple left.
Okay.
Did not get the grapple. He did not get the grapple. Let's make a play for OSA, boys.
What are you out, boys? So deep.
I'm going to get left for it.
That's
one left.
One shot. Not on top. Big kill.
We have the skewer.
Watch out, top Ivy, boys.
On the west.
OS and top Ivy. OS and top Ivy. You see him both?
He's slow there. I got repulsor.
He's coming to me now. I think he's chasing me.
Yeah, he's chasing you. I got shots. He's almost weak. Nice.
On your road.
One guy behind us.
I'm here with you.
One shot.
One on their brutes. On their brutes, weak. See where I spawn. I spawned out, boys. I spawned out.
I got sword.
Let's go. We got numbers here. We should have numbers here. Brutes weak. Get back.
Watch an absolute top.
Kimbo can't quite get the pancake. Costs him his life. And as a 2-2 trade continues to keep this game so narrowly close, just 4 kills separate the two. As they cross the 28 marker, 2Foxy just narrowly missing the skewer, but does get away with his life. A good job by him to stay alive, but unfortunately, for some reason, decides to just try and gather a little bit of extra information and pays for it. Now just a 3-kill game.
Really haven't seen that skewer been put to good use yet in this game. And if someone does start popping off, it can definitely make the difference in this, not just the game, but the entire series. I mean, it would do wonders if Blackhand could take a 2-0 lead going into King of the Hill. 28-26, make it suddenly 27. And I really do think when the skewer is in someone's hands, you've got to be taking these close corridors. You've got to be taking these avenues where it's very difficult to even miss the skewer from a close distance.
Look at all the players' stats right now, just so close together. You can tell trades are just being so efficiently done on both sides. Unfortunately, trades, they're not coming through for Blackhand here. Jimbo finds a double, extends his kills to 10. One is given back, but with a 5-kill lead now, you wonder if NAVI can start to extend this to get a little bit more comfortable. Overshield's coming up in about 15 seconds, and if they can get map control with a couple of kills here, they can blow this one wide open.
Well, Mighty's has been able to pick up the sword here. 34 to 28. Mighty's does go down though. Glory takes him and will take the sword off of him. And now that means that NAVI, even though they had that lead, they need to make sure they get those kills, which they do. 37 to 29, and they should be able to pick up a dead sword, and maybe even this overshield.
Yeah, perfect timing for the perfect shots from Jimbo there. Trying to compete for this overshield. They are going to be able to grapple it to themselves. I believe it was too Foxy, and that's a big job by, it's actually Kimbo, I believe. And with that overshield, that's going to allow NAVI to just headbutt some of these players. They're going to push right in. The overshield's gone, but they've extended the lead. Now all of a sudden, Dan, you blink, and they're up 10.
And look how NAVI are just flying. They've got that one kill. They've got the player advantage. They're all moving as a unit, moving together base to base to try and isolate some of these fights. Ebby is the next victim. Kimbo joining to making sure they're not spread out, that they're not giving easy 1v1s. And Jimbo also has a sword. So all of the good things are put into place now here for NAVI. They just need to make sure they don't throw this one away.
NAVI have done such a good job to control the power so far on the map. And because of it, they finally blew this one wide open. The trades are no longer coming through for Blackhand. You can feel in the gameplay itself that NAVI know that this one is going to be over shortly if they continue to be aggressive. Blackhand can't even come off spawn without being pressured. Jimbo wisely gonna back up for a second, ping the sword to his teammate as well. Great use of the new system with that ping. Doesn't want to pull the trigger once again and tries to use the repulsor to get out of dodge. It works. Unfortunately, he is gonna leave 2 Foxy behind, but better to just lose 1 than 2 and give this skewer away, because the only way Black can come in and take this game is almost, I hate to say it, Dan, but perfect Halo, and that's not going to happen. You'd have to think NAVI are too experienced to let something like that slip through their hands.
It does seem like NAVI have put a lot of work into this map. As you heard the analysts say, it's been a struggle for them in online competition, maybe in some scrims as well, but when you put the time in, when you start to realize how to play it, it suddenly gets a little bit more comfortable for you, as long as you're moving together, not flanking too much and not necessarily leaving too many players to take 1v1s. And as you say, an 11-kill gap surely should be too much for Blackhand. However, it's always possible, and you never say never when there's players like this. Suddenly it's 45 to 36, and as you say, 3 dead, you move in. They had an overshield, and it's 45-37.
It's a clean wipe from Blackhand. They're starting to make a little bit of cuts to the score here. They get a few more. No one able to trade on the side of NAVI, and now all of a sudden, you're starting to get a little nervous. 6 kills. It was once up to 11, like you said. Still a little bit of room to play with if you're Blackhand as well. 45's not the worst score line. When you get up to about 48, that's when it's so difficult to not trade out on the damage and to stay alive. But Blackhand still feel like they're in this one for now. 46-40. Will they be able to spot some of the players hiding around these corners? There's a player right below them. Are they going to check? And that player, it's Jimbo with sword.
Jimbo can do a lot of damage here with the sword, and he knows it. He can't get caught out, though. Does get seen. Just about slices 1. And that is a very important 47th kill, because it gives information. Mister, though, gets another. 47 to 42. It's still a 5-kill game. And NAVI need to backtrack. They need to make sure they stay together, because now they're going to be worried about this sword and what the sword can do against them. It's still a losable game for NAVI.
Jimbo doesn't get that kill. We're looking at a 46 to 43 game, and it was a much different story. So a big kill from Jimbo before getting taken down. A very smart play from him. But now Ebby with the sword is going to wisely play this corner. The stick, is it going to come through?
Where are you going?
Jimbo. Unfortunately, Ebby just too aggressive, pays for it with his life. And unfortunately, right now, you're not able to trade kills back and forth like that, Ebby. 48 to 43, and you nearly need to figure out a way to stay alive in every situation. 2 Foxy finds 1. The repulsor's going to displaced Mista into a terrible position. NAVI do go all 4 dead. As I say that, 49-47.
Overshield's coming up in 3. Are Blackhand brave enough to go for it? With the new respawns, there's no way they go for it, so both teams are going to be baiting this overshield, and NAVI surely would be the team who can take that risk. Mister, though, gets it because of the grapple. 49-47, and he's getting aggressive.
There hasn't been a collapse like this since Jersey's suntan lotion. And this would be one for the history books if you're Blackhand, if you're able to turn this one around. Checking corners, Lunny finds one in the kill feed with the skewer. Unfortunately, Jimbo finds the last one. And although Navi made it as difficult as possible at the end, Blackhand made it as interesting as they could. They couldn't pull off the incredible potential upset there, and now we're looking at a 1-1 series.
Navi wiped the sweat from their brow.
Jesus.
That was too close for comfort, but the bad thing I'd say is that that's going to give so much confidence to Blackhand still going into this game 3. Not only did they take game 1, but they almost had the comeback of all comebacks here on game number 2, and that's how Catalyst can go sometimes. Even the most comfortable of games, all it takes is a sword or a skewer, even an overshield, just making it a very swingy game type. It's constantly a 4 versus 3, a 4 versus 2, and if you do collapse correctly, it's a very difficult game to get back into.
What phenomenal control Blackhand was able to have towards the end, to be able to continuously get kills without trading. You just wish, if you were on the side of Blackhand, that you were able to establish that formula a little bit earlier and with a few less mistakes. But if you're Navi, you tie the series up, you don't feel great about it. You're going into a live fire King of the Hill match, which, Dan, you said wasn't a strong one. What are some key factors going into this game 3 that can help Navi potentially gain some momentum? Because I feel like any momentum they would have gained from that game 2 was almost removed completely.
So one thing we can at least focus on is that if Slayer Catalyst was traditionally a bad game type for Navi, but they've been able to pull through here, maybe when we go into King of the Hill, there might have been that extra practice time for them as well from the scrim results coming into LAN, that they might have something a little bit different. But when we look back at this game, you'll slowly see that scoreboard get an incredible gap between these two teams. And the fact that Blackhand even made it close is unreal. And it does show that they have the ability and they have the calmness to assess a game and get back into it. And I think that that was my worry with this Blackhand roster. When I look at these 4 players, I think who's going to be that leader? Who is going to step up? And I have a feeling that Lunny has taken that role as one of the older and more responsible players on this team.
Sword-on-sword action in the replays. We barely missed that one, but just so unfortunate. The sword was so impactful. But this decision right here, you have to think Ebby regretting that one as he finds the first kill. He could use the grapple to potentially get out of dodge. Instead, he tries to re-engage with multiple members, and that death is almost one that determine the outcome of the game. Is it was just a 3-kill game at the end, a 2-kill game, 50-48. Navi was up 45-33 at one point, Dan, and I've never seen a comeback of that magnitude in my life, and that would have been a story for the children around the fire back at home, but not one we get to tell.
I remember my day when Blackhand came down from 13 kills.
Let me tell you.
But I tell you what, going into King of the Hill live fire, the last 2 times these guys have scrimmed, both times it's gone in favor of Blackhand, a 4-2 victory and a 2-1 victory. So it's not been a stomp, but I think Blackhand will be looking at this saying, wait, this series layout is starting to favor us a little bit. Navi are looking a little bit shaky on some of these. If we can go 2-1 up in this series and ensure that we, at the very least, get a Game 5 Slayer to potentially win this, then tell you what, that is going to put a lot of pressure, not just on Navi, but Mighties. Think about how he is feeling as a player right now. His first time really playing on main stage with this squad. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on him, and he has to answer the critics. He's done very well so far, but that can very easily collapse as a newer player, a younger player. But I'm expecting him to respond well here.
This is a big game 3 for all of Navi. Not the performance they wanted the last time they played on LAN. The first showing here, maybe not exactly as strong as we would hope, knowing that Navi are in the conversation of contenders to take this entire major. We're going to be hopping on board with Mighties as we jump into game 3, and it's already Glory getting the better of him once again.
The first hill, always a difficult one. Do you go for hill? Do you go for overshield? It's always a little fight over towards hill. Sniper going to be in the hands of Mister, and he hits the body. But now that overshield is where all the focus, all the attention's going to be. No one stepping foot in the hill right now, because instead they want this overshield.
Yeah, if I'm Blackhand and I'm not in a position to really compete, somehow they actually are. They're able to sandwich this overshield. Everyone denying that hill, and this is an opportunity that kind of both teams could have taken advantage of. No one even on that side of the map right now. Somebody could have been at least getting that bar to about a third of the way. But it is going to be Blackhand that win not only the battle for overshield, the battle for snipe, and it looks like that the first one's in the hill as well, so everything going great for Blackhand as of yet.
Mister with his back to A there, maybe just not quite on top of spawns. That's something that teams are slowly getting better at is realizing where spawns are going to be happening, where the focus is, how to block those spawns successfully as well, but not quite connecting with that sniper bullet. So for all that, for that overshield that they were able to achieve, it's only a little bit of hill time they've got so far, Blackhand.
Yeah, I'm not going to micromanage too much, but I would like to see a player in the hill during that combat loop right there. Blackhand won the majority of the slays, but don't really have any score to show from it. And now it looks like Navi's going to have the opportunity. Kimbo finally starting to wake up, hits the no-scope, jumps in the hill, and they've taken the lead early in this hill.
If Kimbo starts firing, Navi become extremely scary as a roster. He's so good with any sort of sniper in his hands, and that's why another snipe does run out of ammo, but it's done enough to get damage. Ebby just about wins that fight. Mighty's the last remaining player, does at least get the kill, but now all 4 dead for Navi. And Blackhand have done so well at being able to recognize where Navi are pushing from and collapsing on them.
This battle for overshield is Blackhand is in the hill. If Blackhand can do a good enough job to just trade out, they'll be able to rack up some significant time. Look at that hill bar moving across the halfway mark. Yes, Navi may get this overshield, but if they don't put it to use, and they don't even get it, Dan. They don't even win the battle on that side of the map. So somehow Blackhand able to split their resources almost perfectly to get a significant amount of hill time, get the second overshield as well. And that's the second overshield of the game going into Blackhand's hands. And we'll see if they can break the short setup of Navi here. Mista is going to be that first player that goes down. The repulsor is going to make Glory's job a little bit more difficult, but he finds a way to get the kill. And it all of a sudden looks like Blackhand are the favorites to score this first point.
The 2 versus 2. Mista has to win this one. Will win it. It's a double, can make it a triple, but Ammo won't allow it. So instead, very good just to back off and make sure he gets a little bit more hill time. But Navi are on the back foot. They may at one point just decide to give this one up and start to proceed to think about that next hill. But no, because they spawn over towards Garage, they try and fight it, but no one touches their toes inside, and Blackhand take the lead.
So Navi did such a good job in game 2 of getting overshields, acquiring a lot of the power in the sandbox. They gave the first 2 overshields to Blackhand. With that, Blackhand able to transfer that first hill point into their favor. They're now in the lead for this series as of yet. They may be tied 1-1, but they've got a little bit of momentum. They got Epi, who's been alive all series long, and let's see what he's able to do now.
Can we just talk about Ebby and the way he's sitting? He's just so chilled right now. He looks like he's taking a little bit of a lean in back of the chair. I wish I could play video games like that rather than destroying my spine as I lean forward. A very relaxed posture indeed, and maybe that speaks volumes for this Blackhand roster and how relaxed they look right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about finding a way to be comfortable in an environment like a main stage with $100,000 on the line, playing for the throne of Europe. Blackhand looking very comfortable so far in this series on their first appearance of main stage. Look at this, the hill, it's already over 80% at this point. And if they can go up 2-0, Navi are gonna have to do so much work to try and get back into this one, and I'm not even sure they're capable of it the way that Blackhand are playing.
Jimbo with the overshield does have to try and take on the world, does enough damage to at least help the rest of the team get off spawn, as 3 were dead for Blackhand temporarily. But Blackhand know how close they are to this hill. They've got a solid amount of pushes to work with, but Jimbo will do his best with his heat wave.
One, he played this situation so slow. We saw him hiding in observer mode. He's able to find one, and that's all of a sudden Blackhand with a little bit of numbers advantage. It's up to 2Foxy to try and deny some of the pressure from Blackhand, and he's not enough. He gets taken down, and now all of a sudden, Kimbo, last guy alive, top tower. What can you give me? A kill is big. Can you stay alive? Unfortunately, it's just too many members of Blackhand once again to deal with. Did he buy enough time is the big question. Unfortunately, again, Navi with 2 dead, make it a third. The plasma pistol finds its way home. 3 dead for Navi. Blackhand almost a for sure guaranteed second hill.
You can see why Onset was a little bit worried about Navi having to play King of the Hill in this environment. They do not look as comfortable. It seems like Blackhand have put in a little bit more practice, and in all of these individual engagements, they look more comfortable as well, but the PP missing is never going to be a good sign.
The plasma pistol doesn't come through, and that could be Navi's opening. Unfortunately, the heat wave, it goes through a player, finds a double with 1 shot. 3 dead for Navi. They had a full setup opportunity. Blackhand had to rotate into it, and they broke that setup immediately. Navi on the brinks of going down in this series 2-1. As Blackhand, you can feel the momentum riding and then the confidence in this young Glory player. 16 kills to his name and a lot of objective time behind it.
He's the last player remaining, but he says, you know what, I'm prepared to fight the world right now. Eventually does go out because he knows Overshield was about to come up, but perhaps overexposed himself ever so slightly and Na'Vi should be able to get an overshield as a reward. And now maybe Na'Vi can use this to try and break back through. You've got to get 1 point on the board here. You cannot afford to go 3-0 down.
No, you can't. The clock will start to become a factor as well. He's going to get melee. There's so many players to deal with from 2Foxy. He does a good amount of damage. Is it enough for Mighty's to get the clean up? Mighty's with a triple kill on screen. It's a one-on-one, but guess what? It's going to favor Jimbo. He's in the hill, and this is the first highly contested hill of the game right now. Jimbo has to win this 1v1. The map gets reset. Na'Vi get the close spawns as well, so they should have a favorable advantage to try and score this one.
I think what's amazing, if you look at those scrim results, there was a game that finished 2-1 between these two. So a lot of those hills were scrappy during that scrim, but surely Na'Vi have enough time here. There is going to be one last attempt, one last rally from Blackhand. Na'Vi find themselves going 2 down, but a final step in from Foxy will secure that point. And thankfully, Na'Vi are on the board.
Na'Vi are going to make this one a game here in game 3. The hill, it's going to move towards the overshield spawn, and 2Foxy, he's going to opt to try and flank around, but he gets snipped out. Fortunately, his teammates are able to pick up kills. Good distraction. But the last 2 members of Blackhand, they both find kills. It was Kimbo, the last guy alive, and Blackhand, they were in the hill.
Their toes are dipped in the pool. And I tell you what, this is going to work out for Glory because he's got a heat wave to work with, and the rest of the team are just running rings around the rosies when it comes to that hill. You've really got to use that overshield platform to your best advantage when you are trying to get as much time as possible.
Na'Vi haven't done a great job of breaking setups as of yet, but they get the first 2 kills. 2Foxy's going to give his life for the 3rd, and as a member of Blackhand spawns, Na'Vi should be in a good position to try and compete for this hill, and it's at a perfect time. Dan, overshield coming up in 10 seconds. This overshield could dictate the game because I can almost guarantee who is ever able to activate it will win this hill.
Mighty's gets the double. And Blackhand find themselves 3 dead, and overshield should go in the hands of Na'Vi, will go, so if you're correct in your thinking,
stay in the hill,
then maybe Na'Vi will get this hill point, but Kimbo does decide he's going to leave the hill.
Spawners from Na'Vis are able to jump into the hill, but every second you got to think is crucial for them trying to get back into this one. They get a couple of kills, and they're aggressive with that overshield. I love the play by that, but their hill guy, he's by himself. Kimbo realizes that he's able to double back. A beautiful predictive nade onto Keydor allows Kimbo to find an easy double, and this should be the point going into Navi's hands because the respawners are back tower. They're in no position to compete. Blackhand are going to have to reset, and now all of a sudden, it's tied up 2-2.
And as predicted, that overshield pays dividends, and Na'Vi, they tie this one up, and now suddenly we go to the most horrible hill on this map. It's top middle. Tower control is so important. You need someone to be spawning you over towards that tower, and you get such a vantage point being able to watch across top middle.
This is such a big moment for Na'Vi right here in this series. They've got all these Blackhand players stuck towards green exactly where you want them. If the hill is top middle, you're able to gather a significant amount of time, Dan. And like you're saying, this is a very highly contestable hill. It's very difficult to try and stay alive in it with grenades, with so much pressure from different angles. But 2Foxy with the snipe and the heat wave top tower could create so many openings for his team. Unfortunately, none of the shots are raining true. He's forced to drop in the back of the tower. Kimbo is able to subside some of the pressure coming to him, and Blackhand, they lose 2 members. 2Foxy, his job is just to stay alive right now.
Blackhand did very well just to get Na'Vi out of the hill, and even though Foxy's doing an amazing job at holding tower here, he really needs the rest of the team to jump in that hill, which they do, and now he's got 2 jobs to do. Not only defend top middle, but also think about defending that overshield. So a lot of responsibility here for Foxy.
Doesn't have a battle rifle to play around, so these shots, they have to be precise. The heat wave, it's a pretty far distance shotgun, if you ask me. But is it enough? He opts to push off tower, and that's the perfect play from 2Foxy. You can tell he wants to pick up a BR. He wants to compete for that overshield, but his teammates, they get the kills. He relocates the tower, and Na'Vi should be able to acquire this overshield, get back in the hill, and I can guarantee that they're going to take a 3-2 lead here with 1:39 left. We're going back to the green hill, and now all of a sudden Blackhand maybe not as in control of this series as we once thought.
So much better from Na'Vi. They've woken up. Kimbo with 23 kills, make it 24. And that's what you need from someone, just to take this game by the scruff of the neck and start to realize, hey, we're a higher seed for a reason. We've beaten these guys before. Let's show why we deserve to be considered one of the top teams in Europe. They find themselves 3-2 up now. They've got a little bit of time that they can work with this in the hill. Blackhand, how do they respond?
Yeah, it's all about making that clock hit the 0-0-0 mark. If you're Na'Vi here, you're not too concerned with getting into the hill. Every second that ticks away, is a second in your favor from Na'Vi. Jimbo knows this wisely. Going to be playing the map control game, opting to flank across top middle. He spots a player in the hill. He needs to at least just neutralize this as his teammates are coming off respawn. Doing a good job to try and stay alive. A melee could be big for his teammates to finish that kill. Unfortunately, Ebby, he gets away with his life. And now all of a sudden reinforcements for Blackhand are going to make this a highly contested hill and a real opportunity to tie this one up.
Blackhand just running around like headless chickens at the moment. They need to stabilize ever so slightly, try and get some positions to hold off this Na'Vi push.
That's a big kill.
That's really going to help. Good work from Ebby and Lunny working in tandem. 2 up on both sides. Foxy in a position to do some damage here from Pillars.
And just getting the kill onto the hill player is so important, but Lunny turns the corner, the bait and switch, the teamwork from Blackhand. It's been here all series long. It gives them another sign of life here. But Kimbo takes them down, he gets into green. He's able to hop into the hill himself, and they're gonna try and compete for this one. 47 seconds and counting down now. Blackhand really gonna start to feel some of the pressure, and Jimbo with the most crucial overshield of the series yet, able to acquire it right before the members of Blackhand get there. He's able to trade it out, and now that's a win condition off the board for Blackhand.
And Kimbo did God's work earlier as well, fighting the heatwave with the commando, then drop swap to the BR. 33 seconds left for Blackhand. They've got to get in this hill. They are able to do so. Responsibility now lies on the shoulders here of Lunny.
Give me something. Lands a body. Spots another player. Can't hit the body, but needs to get in the hill. They're able to do so. The last 2 players of Na'Vi, their elbow side of the map.
Alive.
There's tons of players around. It's a 2v1 situation, and Lunny does just that. He stays alive. Glory able to make his 32nd kill of the game. One of the most impactful, as Lunny lands 2 body shots onto the member spawning house, trying to deny some of the hill, going into Blackhand's favor. So now all of a sudden that time, maybe less important. Lunny doing all the work with the body shots to keep his team in this, but somehow it's a one-on-one Ebby versus Mighties, and that could be for the game there. He hops into the hill, grenades come through from the respawners of Na'Vi, and now with 14 seconds left, Blackhand have to figure out a way to fight out a big door, and this is a tough fight to win.
They've got 9 seconds. They're deciding to go Pillars here, and you've got to absolutely bolt
They don't
it.
have time.
But they've been spotted out. 4 seconds left. Can anyone dip their toes in that hill? 1-0, and you don't get there in time. Na'Vi close out game number 3 and find themselves 2-1 up in this series. What could have been an absolutely poor performance was very, very successfully recovered by them.
A misjudgment of time at the end from Blackhand. They'll be kicking themselves once again. And look how close these games are, Dan. Game 2, 50-48. Blackhand thought that the comeback was going to be real. And then again in game 3, everybody choosing to overextend, everybody choosing to try and relocate there. You need somebody coming out a big door once everyone's distracted on the side of Na'Vi to just get in the hill, even if it's for a second. That second buys enough time for the rest of the boys to show up.
And I was asking, who do I think is that leader? Who's going to be taking this team by the reins? I saw the comms afterwards, Lunny firmly talking to his teammates. He knows full well they had that game. They had the chance to get back into it, and he's still letting them know now.
Yeah.
He's saying, we could have done this, we should have done that. Next time we need to do this, and that's fine. You need to learn these lessons. It's pool play. But you now need to pick yourselves up and try and gain a little bit going into this game number 4. You don't want to throw this series away just off the back of being frustrated from a game that perhaps you could have taken to some sort of overtime.
It's tough too. As you look back throughout the history of Halos, when you're an underdog trying to create the upset, you need to figure out ways to win the close games, and that's something that Blackhand has now let slip twice through their hands. It's going to be one of those moments where you're at dinner and you said, we could have, should have, but we didn't. And right now, Blackhand with one more opportunity to change that narrative before they have a very upsetting time trying to face reality of the biggest upset of their careers was moments away. A couple of shots, a couple of lives thrown, and we'd be talking about a completely different tournament.
That player on your screen, Kimbo, though, he had a game.
Big game.
He was really performing lights out. A couple of individual fights that were absolutely massive. Ebby probably thought he'd won the game, but look at the spawn from Foxy.
Yeah.
Spawns on dirt, gets perfect nades. On the other side, Blackhand spawn over towards garage, and no one able to push out of that garage door. And now Na'Vi find themselves 2-1 up, going into Recharge Oddball. And NAVI, they did beat Blackhand in Recharge Oddball 2-1 just last week when they scrimmed, so things starting to look a little bit better with this series layout now. I think NAVI have got through arguably their 2 worst game types, and they've been able to get 2 victories.
It's off the back of this overshield control for me. If you look at game 2, NAVI dictated the overshield control primarily through the beginning of the match. They were able to build that significant 11-kill, 12-kill lead at one point. They started to give those away, and with that, they gave the lead away. What happened in game 3, Dan? They gave the first 2 overshields away. They find themselves down 2-0. Somehow, some way, they continued to clutch up when those overshields were coming up. They got the slays they needed. Jimbo sneaking away a couple of times to be able to secure those. And with those overshields, it just gives you so much more opportunity, so much more power. Your ability to tank damage, your ability to just create space for your team. Camouflage is the name of the game on Recharge. We'll see if who's able to dictate the power up story here as we hop into game 4.
Well, is it going to be Wonderboy or is it going to be Turk, the 2 coaches behind both of these teams with that responsibility of ensuring the team knows when that camouflage is going to be popping? And of course, yes, there's going to be a timer, but you do need a firm reminder when you are locked in and you're playing against a team who's battling for it. Kimbo goes very quickly to try and grab it, unfortunately not successful.
It's the super slide. Unfortunately, it's predicted, and he's caught out in the open from Blackhand. They are able to get a few slays early on, and this battle here, bottom control could be a big one, and unfortunately Glory just doesn't have the ammo to try and compete, and that's allowed Jimbo to help his teammate out. Jimbo finds a double, and you're already seeing the ball prioritization from NAVI. They want to be very efficient with their kills.
And NAVI really have stepped up their Recharge game. Ever since they made that change, Respectful gets replaced by Mighties. They've looked like a different squad on this map, but 3 are dead at the moment. And Blackhand may be able to get some ball time because of this. They're going to get the first real attempt at a setup, but Jimbo can really disrupt it.
Yeah, are they going to expect Jimbo to be this advanced on the map? You see Ebby, he has no idea. Now he should be getting a comm that someone's behind him. Kimbo, 2, Foxy, they're the ones that find the kills. Jimbo finds the 3rd, and now all of a sudden Ebby left alone by himself. He's going to be surrounded. 2, Foxy does a great job to get a clean wipe of the Blackhand members. That was an opportunity Blackhand's going to regret.
And even though flanks are difficult, when you pull them off, they can be so successful in a way that it just pans out like that. Jimbo was behind enemy lines, was able to do damage, and it was a collapse that was so comfortable and easy for NAVI in the end. And now they find themselves with a 10-point lead. And Kimbo is in a position where he can really command bottom middle here, but he's kind of lost. He's lost all the players here.
He had such a good position until he dropped off the bridge. It allowed Blackhand to kind of get an opportunity to not only have high ground, but it caught Kimbo out of the loop. And although Kimbo had a phenomenal game 3, game 4 not the hottest start for NAVI, and although they do have that 24-11 lead, Blackhand are doing a phenomenal job of leading the game so far in slays, but that objective is something that we might need to see more out of if they want to have success against this NAVI roster.
And Lunny letting Mighties know after he out-BR'd him in that situation. Mighty's still without a kill. And that could be a very firm tactic here from Blackhand. Start to try and get into the heads of NAVI, especially Mighty's the newest player on their roster for sure. Glory's got the shock rifle. Lunny has the ball. This is a good chance for Blackhand to set up.
How long can they keep this setup? Because the last time it was broken immediately. Kimbo, he's spotted out on the blue box. He's taken down. And when your ball carrier is able to get a kill, that's usually a great sign for your opportunity to hold the setup. They're able to get Sword as well. So now all of a sudden, Sword on this side of the map, it's going to be a very difficult break from NAVI.
Great grenades, though, from 2 Foxy. Here comes Mighties again. Kind of carelessly walking in through Turbine, it has to be said. Finds himself at 0 and 5 now. And if Blackhand can keep taking advantage of that aggression, if they can keep spotting him out, then they certainly will enjoy a good period of time here.
This round 1's going to start to get out of hand if NAVI don't get a few kills quickly. The ball, it's being rotated to control. The pipe spawns were recognized by Blackhand, and they perfectly rotated it. They catch out Jimbo on the flank this time around, so they're going to be able to hold this setup with numbers still. Mista doing a phenomenal job keeping his head on a swivel, expecting NAVI to be in their locations. The ball, it's not going to be played. You have to think NAVI had an opportunity there to play it. They don't do it. And are they going to regret that one? Because the last 2 members alive for NAVI are surrounded by Blackhand. They're taken down here shortly. And this ball in the back of blue is just going to continue Blackhand's opportunity to jump out to an early lead here.
Great communication as well from Blackhand to ensure Jimbo's not getting away. They're not allowing one-shots to escape at this point, and that is going to put them in such good stead to pick up a good amount of time because it's constantly resetting those spawns. And Na'Vi now firmly on the back foot here, down by almost 40 points, now definitely 40 points, and the sword in the hand here for Blackhand. They can really just command control, and anyone that comes will get sliced up.
A good trade from Mista with the setup. It is broken, the ball, it is played. So Na'Vi finally get rid of what was Blackhand's 68-point run. Now down by 40. Abby doing a great job to extend that potentially with the grapple. In this case, I just want you to hold on to it, Abby. Get some information for your team and extend this lead. It's so difficult to try and build a comeback here. Players from the pipes area of the map is not something the Blackhand players expected, and somehow, some way, Na'Vi continue to find ways through some of these setups, especially the pipes ones. Blackhand maybe not as strong on this side of the map, and that could be exactly what Na'Vi need.
Na'Vi trying to rotate that ball over towards blue. Evi's going to be the first person to try and stop it, but Mighty's the first point of defense as well.
A big couple kills.
And they need it. Na'Vi need a breakthrough here. Nice play from Mighty's to get that ball away with the grapple. That's not an easy grapple to hit.
Oh, not at all. The precision, the young gun showing you. He's got micro mechanics, but the macro is something Na'Vi need to focus on here. It's a 1v1. Mista getting the better of him as he had the positioning the first couple of shots. And that should have been a Na'Vi setup that was pretty successful there with the shock rifle in Mighty's hands. Unfortunately, they don't expect the long haul push. And this is a lack of information that Na'Vi are really starting to struggle with.
Kimbo has got the entry though, so this is now a definite push here from Na'Vi. It's going to have to be a play. Oh, Emmy can actually play the sword. I like the attempt. But maybe next time he'll be able to just have that little bit of extra time. But only 10 points needed now for Blackhand to take this round one.
Yeah, that's the issue, Dan, is 10 points is very easily to scrap along the way. Na'Vi not showing us yet that they can hold a real setup. Kimbo doing some work with the repulsor and some frags here. And Pipes, the 1v2 was needed from Kimbo. He was so close, but you see, Lunny doing some body disrespect, and maybe not the best time because he was the last guy alive. All of Blackhand get put on respawn, and now Na'Vi with the first real pipe setup opportunity. They're going to run it towards the elevator, and we'll see how strong Na'Vi setups are with Mighty's on the squad.
Camouflage is popping. You've got to be careful when you start to drill shots into your opponent's bodies when they are on the floor, because suddenly if they come back into the game, boy, are they going to let you know about it. But as you say, only 10 seconds required for Blackhand, so they are in a good position, but this can very easily slip away if they're not careful. If they start running aimlessly into fights, if they're not pushing together, Na'Vi may be able to just shut them down consistently.
A couple of kills going Blackhand's favor as one's traded back. It's a 2v2 situation. It's a brawl in pipes. It's a triple kill from Kimbo that keeps his team potentially in this one, but an elevator spawn for Blackhand is a favorable one, but they're going to be sandwiched here. Only 3 points awarded to that ball carrier, and now an elevator set up for Na'Vi as Mighty's looks to be aggressive. He's got sword in his back pocket. Let's see if he chooses to use it.
Are Blackhand going to panic now? They tried to escape with that ball. They didn't succeed. Glory gets the opener. Mighty's still alive with the sword, though, somehow. Otherwise, that could have been so detrimental there for Na'Vi, but Blackhand are doing very well to try and push, and that is so important.
Glory with the double. Somehow Mighty's doesn't predict the catwalk push, and that could be a costly death. 7 points all Na'Vi can allow here. And Blackhand, they've got the ball, they've got the slays. They're going to turn the corner, and Mista, he's going to put an end to the first round of Game 4. He's going to put it in Blackhand's favor. And if you want to see a Game 5, you want Blackhand to figure out a way to close this one out. And Na'Vi, you know they want nothing to do with this going to a Team Slayer.
So opposite spawns now, different starting strategies for both of these teams. Mista gets the opener, it's a nice response, but Na'Vi find themselves 3 dead, and suddenly Blackhand could have this camouflage. Mighty's trying to fight to stay alive, but isn't able to do so. Blackhand not able to get any ball time though, so both teams here, Wes, are going to have to reset and reassess how they want to actually break through. This first kill after these both 4 teams are up is going to be a big one.
Camo not too influential so far throughout this game, or at least in round 1. Na'Vi choosing to do a very quick push to Camo, and once again, it doesn't work out in their favor, but they've gotten the slays ever since. 3 down for Blackhand, and the ball in 2 Foxy's hands in the pipe situation. He's going to bring it over towards the elevator. We've seen this movie before. It's the next film that I want to see improve. It's the setup. How long can they hold it?
Na'Vi did very well to come back into the King of the Hill game after they went 2-0 down. They find themselves 1-0 down on ball, and boy, do they need a comeback, because a Game 5 is not going to be a fun place to be against a Blackhand roster who will thrive in that environment, and I'm sure will be so confident as Mighties goes down. 2 are dead for Na'Vi.
Just like that, Na'Vi in a favorable position. Somehow, some way, not able to get the slays. Jimbo does a good job to get a couple of kills, but unfortunately, Jimbo had to play the ball because you can't rely on yourself to just 1v2 players. And in the meantime, Blackhand on the other side of the map, they've got that ball into pipes.
Nice nade from Lunny to work out where the player was going to be jumping, but Foxy has done really well to at least get a good amount of time here. I think he's looked at how Na'Vi played that previous round. He said, I don't think any of us were prioritizing ball well enough. But because of that, do find themselves going down, and Blackhand now get their first opportunity at a setup. And I tell you what, this shock rifle in Lunny's hand could make a big difference.
Watch the cross for me, he says. He gets the information, pulls out the BR. It's an easy kill for Lunny, and a good job by Blackhand. That is textbook setup right here. Somebody watch my cross, I'll watch yours, and we'll capitalize on the damage done.
We'll look towards top gold now, but leaves himself a little bit too exposed in that doorway. Sometimes you want to just be behind that pillar so that you have that protection from the left-hand side of Cat, but a good amount of time was able to had by Blackhand here, find themselves leading once more. And remember, if they win this round, we go to a Game 5 in this series of full play day 1.
Yeah, Na'Vi trying to break this setup, but it's taken them quite a bit of time. Like you're saying, a 20-point lead just about for Blackhand here in round 2, and looking to push this to a Game 5. Ebby with the sword. It's been so influential so far throughout this series. Let's see what he's able to do with it. Mighties, he gets caught. He gets taken down. A grenade from Ebby, finds himself a double, and that's a phenomenal job by Ebby to trade some kills back into Blackhand's advantage.
It's Glory versus Mighties. 2 of the young guns going at 1v1 once more, but Glory going to have to back down. And he probably knows there's a sword around this corner, so you have to be careful.
He's got to know there's a sword somewhere in here. There's a combo as well, and the sword, it doesn't even matter because Kimbo's quick with the combo, with the battle rifle as well. And now Mighty's trying to allow his team to get some ball time. That's a big double from him. 3 dead for Blackhand. And although Na'Vi lose 2, they should be able to get some time. But in the same exact sequence, the ball resets, and it makes it even more difficult for Na'Vi to catch back up.
Mighty's still alive with this sword, though. Doing very well to navigate himself through the corridors, staying alive, and then actually slicing and dicing. But he is the only remaining player. So even though he's been able to stay alive, he was playing away from the rest of the team. They've all fallen. And now Mr. pushing in to perhaps try and put an end to this sword spree.
Yeah, Mr. getting a big kill on the Mighties. The sword once again transfers hands. And somehow, again, Dan, it's a broken record at this point. Na'Vi get a setup. It folds like some dominoes. And I'm not talking about the pizza. I'm talking about the board game.
Other pizzas are available. Definitely here in Spain. I mean, we had a kebab and pizza shop that was unreal. They ordered about 15 pizzas. But anyway, Na'Vi do find themselves down by about 6 points. Mr. able to do a little bit of damage with the sword, but 2 are dead on Blackhand, 3 are dead on Na'Vi, so this is going to have to be a play. And that's a good heads-up position from Na'Vi.
Yeah, that's the difference, though, is Blackhand just in such a good position to not only play the ball, but they get the trades. They are allowed to deny Na'Vi any opportunity to grab that play ball, and they're able to compete for it. Unlike the story that we saw when Na'Vi was forced to play, it was already in Blackhand's hands before they were able to do anything about it. Now you're seeing the battle for pipes. If it's won by either team, it's typically going to result in some ball control as well. But right now, the battle continues. Kills being traded. Mighty finds one, immediately goes for that ball. And if he can turn the corner, maybe he can help his team get back into this one. Only down 2 seconds, so a good job of Na'Vi to get back into round 2 at least. But a realistic setup is going to be needed to close the door on this second round.
Jimbo on the flank again is finding himself at top blast, but he's caught out, he's spotted out, he's done a little bit of damage, but can we see Glory do something with the plasma pistol? No, not on this occasion, but Blackhand do gather a little bit of time just to extend that lead by a very few points. But this is so scrappy, Wes. I mean, 2 down on one side, 2 down on the other. We've seen so many 2v2s, 3v3s. Very rarely have we seen all 4 deads.
Great job to reset the ball towards that battery's location. Kimbo tried to catch it, couldn't do it. Because of it, Na'Vi denied positioning with the oddball, and it's going to make 2 Foxy shots so difficult. They've got to reslay in order to try and acquire some position. And Lunny somehow behind enemy lines already, able to find a kill. It was a player towards pipes. I'm sorry, I believe it was Glory. And as he was able to pick up that kill, what should have been some Na'Vi ball time is immediately denied.
2 dead though for Blackhand. And Na'Vi once more can try and get this ball to a position. Mighties may not realize he's running towards an enemy, but yes, he does. Okay, there was a teammate to clean up, so that's perfectly executed. If you can kill a spawner as you're running towards it, then that is going to be perfectly played.
This is it. Na'Vi with the full setup at elevators. Camo is up. Lunny leaves the camo behind, but he gets spotted by Jimbo on the cross. Actually doubles back. Jimbo tries to focus onto someone else, and because of it, Lunny able to get a free kill onto a player that knocked him down to no shield, but it does look like 2Foxy has been able to acquire camo. It's traded out though, and Na'Vi, they're forced to drop the ball here in a tough position and control. Grenades are so strong, and that's a great job to get some great grenade damage, but it's not enough. Na'Vi don't get the sways, and now Lunny trying to turn the corner with this ball to get Blackhand to bleed back in their favor. He gets it to elevator, but he's taken down as he tries to enter the door, and Na'Vi have to push quickly.
And 35 seconds left on that clock. You want a setup over towards blue in these moments, but all 4 dead for Blackhand. Na'Vi get control of the ball. They'll try and get it back to elevator, but nades from Lunny makes the ball very weak, but Jimbo just about gets away, and Na'Vi now can start to put a gap between themselves and Blackhand.
We're going to start calling them Lunny nades because that nade knocked 2 players very weak. Unfortunately, Lunny not able to take down Mighties, and because Mighties got that kill, it allowed Jimbo to escape with the ball. He's gotten it all the way to pipes, and now Blackhand forced to play their hand here. They're going to have to be aggressive, almost reluctantly at this time. 88 points, and the ball continuing to rotate over towards blue, and this is a beautiful rotation for Na'Vi to stay in this one.
And Kimbo just tosses it bottom middle. He says you're going to have to work for this ball, and then I'll make you work for the kill at the same time.
The double.
But does manage to pick up a kill, does not get the stick. Mister gets the ball. It's a blue setup for Blackhand, but off the spawn, Na'Vi are doing the damage. Jimbo goes down, 64 to 88. Blackhand have to win this engagement.
Mister's trying to stay alive here. He's weak. Nades are coming through. None of them find home, and all of a sudden, Blackhand, they're able to get the ball. There's 3 seconds on the clock. They have 20 seconds they need to acquire an Evie. He's gone down. Mighties gets the kills. Mighties gets the kills. They're going to take this round, push this to a round 3, and just like every game in this series, this one's going the distance.
I mean, you look at the stats, you look at the kills. This is so close between these 2 teams, but it's crunch time now here in round 3. Are we going to see Blackhand throw another game away, or are we going to see them clutch up here? Ebby gets a double to start things off. Na'Vi do reply, though, with a kill of their own, and the early stages do favor Blackhand ever so slightly.
A little bit different of a push from Na'Vi, but it still doesn't work out. It favors Blackhand. In the meantime, trying to figure out what happened with Camo. I believe 2Foxy's going to be trying to look for it, but, I mean, the ball, it's already in pipes. Blackhand do such a good job to sniff that one out, to get it into pipes safely, and this is going to be an early lead for Blackhand for now.
Big moment for Foxy. Can he clean this one up?
Please.
Glory just about... Glory gets a trade, because Foxy just not able to find that headshot, unfortunately. Too many corners for him to navigate, and now he's going to play Ring Around the Roses with Lunny, and does lose it. But I will say, honestly, this is just going to come down to who's winning their battles, I feel, at this point. This has been such a scrappy game throughout all of these rounds that if you are losing your 1v1s, then you're going to put your team at such a detriment.
I don't know why Jimbo felt the need to try and run that towards the glass situation. That's exactly where the Blackhand push was coming from. He loses his life, and what was once again a Na'Vi pipe setup is immediately broken with 0 kills going in their favor, and Blackhand able to acquire this ball. You want to see him held on to it because you're in such a good position to just build up a lead. Every second we have learned in this series will matter.
Well, Ebby's saying, look, I've got the shock rifle. Someone please take this. He tosses it across, but again, that could have been more time secured here by Blackhand. You've got to hit a shot after tossing it. Does not do so. Na'Vi take down 2, but 2 respond. And it's a 2 versus 2. Big fights going down right now, Wes.
Ebby punished for his positioning there. Let's see what Na'Vi can do to capitalize on that. Somehow they're not able to get multiple kills going in their favor. A touch on the ball, maybe not what 2Foxy wanted, as 2 players were pushing him from that long haul position. Does look like Blackhand are able to trade this out successfully. The ball is in a tough spot, though. It does get played by 2Foxy, so maybe that was the brilliance behind the play. It's denied Blackhand from being able to acquire any of the ball time as of yet, but the camo going in their favor and a couple of kills as well means that Blackhand will once again have that blue setup and have an opportunity to play it when Na'Vi decide to break it.
Still not seen that camouflage play a massive part in any push. It's been burnt pretty quickly by both teams. They've both done well to be on top of it, to make sure they're fighting for it. But Na'Vi have all 4 up. Blackhand only have 3 at the moment, so this is a big push for Na'Vi. If Blackhand don't play it, they can find themselves very much struggling.
2Foxy once again struggling to finish these one-shots, and because of it, forced a trade. A massive kill from Ebby, a massive kill from Glory. He lets them hear about it. Kimbo, he's sent to respawn, and that's going to award not only Glory another kill to the speed, but some ball time as well. Look at him. Doesn't want the ball time yet. He wants more.
Glory starting to feel himself. He says, I love a triple! As he lets them know once more it's a killing spree. It's ball time. It's Blackhand showing what they're made of.
It's the young gun from Ireland, Glory, with 49 seconds of ball time. Make it 38. And some more ball time acquired. You can't play better objective than what he's doing now.
He is going to be making Na'Vi scratch their heads, wondering how on earth they're going to break this setup. But eventually, he throws that ball off the map. He says, I'm not going to trust my individual ability anymore. And he does get shut down eventually. But I tell you what a hold that was from Glory to give themselves a 42-point lead.
4 dead for Blackhand. Na'Vi able to get the Slays off that play ball. Last player alive is going to be spawning towards top glass. If they're able to get this kill, Dan, that would be a big one for another potential setup. I feel like it might not mean anything, though, the way these setups have been for Na'Vi.
Oh, wow.
You missed the shot, an over challenge from Jimbo. The player's turn, that's 2 of them. And Blackhand's teamwork just so strong throughout this series. 3 dead once again for Na'Vi. And how many times, Dan, how many times does it look like they have opportunity and it's just wasted away?
Na'Vi are struggling, and I think they know it. Kimbo is the last remaining player. He got hunted down by Blackhand. They've got a blue setup once more, and they've got Camouflage. Mister, a lot of responsibility for him here.
The ball does get played. Mister trying to hunt down these kills. The repulsor's gonna knock him off the map, and Jimbo getting a little bit of revenge. That camo should have acquired at least 2 kills there, you have to think, but Jimbo doing a phenomenal job. Kimbo, shock rifle in hand. You talk about how great this player is with the sniper rifle. He's already found 2. The ball, it's being picked up, and if Kimbo can pick up just 1 more kill, it would create so much space for his team. But his teammate's gonna force him to pick up the ball for now, and we'll see if this is a different story this time around. Na'Vi with a couple of numbers in their advantage here, able to turn it to 3, and they want to block these elevator spawns quickly.
It's a good push from Na'Vi. They get aggressive on the elevator, as you say. They're able to take down 2. Could have been 3, will be a 3rd. Mister falls. And all the meanwhile, ball time is being gathered. That's one thing I will say is Na'Vi, when they do get into a position, when they start to gather time, they do scrape that time through. They do hold that ball close to their chest. But I tell you what, that's a little bit of a steal from Lunny, but I don't think it's going to get played.
Yeah, Lunny was actually the last guy alive. The fact that he's able to just take down the ball carrier is massive. It's allowed Mista to do the same, and now all of a sudden, Blackhand able to get the setup, able to break some opportunity for Na'Vi once again. 60-34 now. Blackhand up heavily.
Up heavily. Have the ball. Mighty's, though, has a shock rifle. He knows someone's nearby. You can hear the little trickles of the footsteps. Camo is going to be popping. There's the shots that you need to be hitting if you're Mighty's. But all the meanwhile, ball is still being scored by Blackhand, and they get the kill. Now it's a 2 versus 2.
40 points and counting. 80-34. Make it closer to 50 now. Blackhand's lead here to push this to a game 5. Kimbo, he's able to get camo. He's able to find the first kill on the Lunny, but a great grenade once again from Glory is able to take him down. And Na'Vi aren't able to do anything with that camo again.
44 kills for Glory. Tell you what, make it 45, and he's still screaming, he's still firing, and he is on top of the world right now. 88 points, make it 90. Blackhand so close to taking us to a game 5.
Take us home, Glory. Take us to a game 5. Unfortunately, he eats the stick. He's able to at least get the kill. They want to play the ball, but Ebby, he's not in a position because the grenades are so strong from Jimbo. He's able to get the kill. 3 were dead for Blackhand, and because finally Blackhand not able to play the ball, maybe there's a sign of life here for Na'Vi. 96-34.
Jimbo has just made the play of the century, pushed in as the last remaining player, gets 2 kills, and now keeps this game alive for Na'Vi. It's not yet done for Blackhand. This is when we sometimes see teams crumble, when they're so close, but that's an opening. Ebby gets the first, and now they need to work out. Now they need to push together.
Jimbo, you've done a lot of great things. Can you give us one now? No, he gets traded out. Another trade is going to benefit Blackhand. They only need 4 seconds. Glory going to try to get one of those seconds in their favor. He's immediately taken down, but Dan, you got to talk about the clock. 27 seconds and counting as that ball is neutralized. All of Blackhand's going to be in a mosh pit, bottom middle. They want the game 5. They can smell the game 5. Can they get there?
3 are dead, 4 are dead for Na'Vi, and Blackhand, it's as simple as pick that ball up, count to 3, and you're going to a game 5.
An unbelievable series so far. Black can do it. They push this one the distance. And now it's time for the 2 best words in esports. It's going to be a game 5 here in pool play. And we knew this series was going to be a good one, Dan, but I had no idea Blackhand was going to deliver this well.
I think when I looked at the whole schedule for today, I was seeing 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And I saw this, and I was thinking, I tell you what, if Blackhand come to play, we could be going the distance. And they have shown up today. They've shown what they're made of. You heard Lunny, or you saw Lunny mouth it after game 1. We can do this. They believe they can beat Na'Vi. And granted, it's just pool play, some might say, but what a statement this could be from Blackhand if they were to win this series. They could put themselves on top of this group, effectively steal Navi's seed, and give themselves a better chance in that bracket. But there's still a lot to do. There is still an entire Slayer game to play just yet.
I want to talk about a couple of factors I'm just witnessing as we take a look at the players here. It's 2 completely different energies, Dan, on both sides of the stage, even throughout this entire series. Na'Vi, they're sweating. They're scratching their heads. They're wondering, how did it get to this point? On the other side, you're seeing momentum, you're seeing energy, you're seeing hope, you're seeing drive, the want to create the upset. Guys that have never been there, done that, they're trying to get there. They're trying to do that. And all they need is 50 kills in order to create the biggest upset of these guys' career, especially in a LAN environment. What a better time to do it than the first major in Halo Infinite. Wow.
And that's why sometimes you're in the advantage as the underdog. When you look at the pressure that's on Na'Vi, the pressure that's on Mighties in particular, and how much the desk, how much we talk about him, whereas on the other side for Glory, even though we also highlighted him before the tournament, he doesn't have that same pressure. Those expectations aren't necessarily there, but boy, is he performing well. Over 45, 46 kills there was there. I mean, Glory had the game of his life, and boy, did Blackhand need it. They find themselves all tied up. And I've got a fun fact for you. The last time these 2 guys played in a competitive game on Slayer Livefire, it was 50-49 in favor of Na'Vi. So if it's going to be anything like that, then we are in for an absolute slobber knocker.
An absolute slobber knocker. As these guys, game 5, man, let me tell you, the adrenaline's going. Take a deep breath, ladies and gentlemen, especially the 8 on the stage with the controllers in their hands. They need to stay calm, stay patient. We talk about veterans. We talk about the players that have so much history. Do you think it benefits the side of Na'Vi going into this one, or off that game 4 win, Dan, do you think Blackhand are going to have the leverage?
It really does come down to individual players and how they respond to these situations, because some players crumble, some players excel. Momentum definitely behind Blackhand, but as you say, it could be that situation that now you're so close, you almost get a little bit too eager. And suddenly you fall, you crumble. We need to see Blackhand play exactly the same aggressive nature they just played in game 4.
Give me Blackhand all day, every day. I've seen the underdog story. I lived it. Let's see if Glory and the boys can put this one together. They're able to find the first because of Glory. It's traded out, but they are going to have snipe. They're going to have positioning for Overshield as well, as you're seeing prioritization towards green from Na'Vi. The flank, it gets sniffed out from Money. Unfortunately, the player front tower in Mighties does a good job, but it's Ebby with the snipe. He finds the body, he finds the head. And like a boxing match, this series has been. Overshield surely goes in the hands of Blackhand early on.
How does this man still look so relaxed in a game 5? 4-4, make it 4-5. It's a big double from Mighties. Ebby has to hit these shots. He has to try and connect, but he eventually just gives up and gives away the Overshield. So Na'Vi win that initial Overshield battle.
I have no idea how Blackhand aren't in a position to compete for that a little bit better. Ebby can't quite hit some of these shots, and let's see if he pays his life. A great job to sniff out the flank. A better job to relocate. He spots the Overshield, so not only that, gets great information onto where that player is. That player's actually going to slow it down, and these plasma nades are money.
Wow.
Absolutely damaging on the side of Na'Vi. That Overshield, it's wasted, and once again, it's Ebby with the power weapons in hand to create such a difference and opportunity for this team to take this 10-8 early lead.
Ebby now needs just to look over towards green and scout over towards the sandbags as well. Needs a battle rifle to back up this heat wave after he runs out, but the assault rifle, I guess, is a fantastic second choice. Blackhand have lost a couple of players here, but they are keeping it scrappy. 11 to 10, it slows down ever so slightly as Na'Vi look to try and find a path to try and break down this setup.
He's going to expect Na'Vi to try and be aggressive. He gets some sound audio cues. Players are pushing below, and there's 3 of them spotted out. They get flanked by the heat wave. It's doing so much damage. And look at that, Ebby. Not a death to his name so far. A 4-kill lead, make it 3 for Blackhand.
And Ebby has been navigating the bottom of this map so successfully. Now just going to position himself over towards Garage so he can keep an eye on that overshield. And now he can also take fights over towards Nest as well. This whole passage of play from Ebby has been absolutely fantastic. From the sniper control, then to the plasma nades, then to picking up this heat wave and where he's been moving. It's a 7-kill lead for Blackhand here in Game 5.
No lead is safe, as we learned in Game 2, but you have to think this is going to benefit Blackhand as they acquire the overshield. It was Na'Vi with the first. That overshield was wasted away. This overshield is getting put to work. Lunny finds a kill. Unfortunately, the re-chow is not something the doctor ordered, and because of it, Mighty predicts it. He's able to get that kill, trade a couple of damage out, but still, 5 kills separate the two, and Blackhand feel like they have momentum in their favor so far.
Mighty's just trying to stay alive, does have support from his teammate at Dirt, also has, well, he did have the repulsor, does have 1 left to use, but unfortunately it's a dud. But now he can just try and react to what his teammates are giving him in terms of information. You're in a fantastic position to flank here, and that is a good amount of damage, and now you need the teammates to do exactly what you've just done.
Lunny nades, you gotta coin them. The phrase, they've been true all series long, and they're able to find the kill, and because of that, Blackhand finds some opening, but Jimbo, that wasn't Jimbo, he was scratching his head, that was Kimbo. Finds a double with the snipe, continuing to have success with the precision weapons. Let's see what Mighty's can do. He's caught off guard. Can't hit the no-scope, pays for it with his life. And now Glory, with the weight of his worlds on his shoulders, trying to be aggressive, trying to continue to pressure the respawns of Na'Vi. He gets caught out as well.
Ebby instead will pick up the sniper rifle. No one really been able to put it to massive use so far. No real spree that they've gone on. It's been trading hands quite a lot. But now you've got to hit your shots. Overshield coming up in 1 second. No bullets left. Need to now assist just with the battle rifle. And Na'Vi seem to be in the better position once more.
I believe the snipe was... Oh, no, he's got 2 bullets. Mista finds a double. The battle for Overshield heavily goes in Blackhand's favor, but I don't believe they're able to activate it. And because of it, 2 Foxy, somehow, some way, in a 4v2 situation, gets there. Does that. Finds 3 kills, and what looked like a blowout opportunity for Blackhand here in Game 5. 2 Foxy turns it right around, makes this one very interesting, 34-30.
Boy, did Na'Vi need that. Suddenly, they've got a chance to get back into this game. It's another double for Foxy, 36-33. They're still behind. Blackhand just need to take a breather here. They don't allow Na'Vi to get all these kills without an answer. Try and gather your thoughts, make sure you're playing together. Can't have these individual pushes happening too often.
This is such a tough spot for Na'Vi to try and be. An elbow is not a place you want to be when they're respawning towards tower, because they've got grenades coming off respawn. They're easy, and you know how strong they've been with them throughout the series. But the collapse is going to come through. Na'Vi able to tie this one up all of a sudden, 37-37. And Jimbo, the veteran in the series, staying alive is the name of the game. They're able to take the lead for the first time.
A 1-kill advantage. Nerves now starting to kick in for Blackhand after having a considerable lead ahead of Na'Vi. And if that starts to dwindle away, if suddenly Na'Vi take a significant lead of their own, then suddenly Blackhand may begin to worry. But still, just a 1-kill game. A lot of pressure on these players, taking a fight towards dummies. But Mista has the heat wave, and he can certainly be a big factor in these next moments.
What does Jimbo decide to do here? So crucial. Mista with the heat wave. We've seen how efficient Blackhand is with this. They're able to get that kill. Both Snipe and Overshield coming up in 10 seconds. Ebby trying to compete all by himself. It's the window spawns for Na'Vi. They're going to have a lot of pressure to deal with. Black can't get caught off. They don't expect him to be there. Mista, he gets taken down. All of a sudden, 3 dead for Blackhand. And another Overshield in the hands of 2 Foxy. Could exactly be what Na'Vi need.
Glory just has to dip out. He cannot afford to fight it. He gives away the Overshield, 44-43. And I said this was going to be a close one. It was in Pro Series, and it is here in Valencia. This one's for all the marbles here in pool play.
How do you play this? 2 Foxy checking his corners, being aggressive. You want your grenades, you got to find out where they are. Lonnie's a little bit advanced with the snipe. He's caught out. That's the pick. That's the pick they need. Look at Na'Vi. They're here. 3 dead. 4 dead for Blackhand. NAVI put the overshield to an execution now. 48-44.
48-44. And all they need is one more push like that. Kimbo's advancing. He's looking for the kills. It's 48-45. You've got to be careful of these nades, though. If you miss the shots, it's 48-46.
Oh my, 48-46. Blackhand come off spawn. They subside the pressure from NAVI. But Jimbo, behind enemy lines. Can he get the kill? He gets the repulsor on the one. But it's not enough to finish it. There's a player no shield. Kimbo, can you close it out? He gets the kill. And NAVI closed the door 50-47. They needed every bit of the experience they have to get the job done here against Blackhand, but they get the job done, and it's a heartbreaker. On the other side of the stage, Blackhand knows they had that one.
What a series we've just had on a Friday here in Valencia. Blackhand know full well they could have beaten NAVI. As for NAVI, it's just back to the office. It's another day where they should have got a victory, and they do get a victory. It was Mighties who popped off at the end, but the rest of the NAVI squad, they didn't look too happy about it. They know it shouldn't have been that close, but as long as you get the win, it doesn't matter if it's a 3-0, it doesn't matter if it's a 3-2, you've just got to be getting that W at the end of the day.
You got to take me back to 2 plays if you're trying to decide how this game went. And it's a 4v2 from Blackhand's perspective. Overshield is up, it's on the ground. 2 Foxy creates magic to get a kill, to get the overshield, to pump it into his chest, and to pump some shots into the members of Blackhands. They get 3 straight kills. That's where momentum swings. They're able to tie it up 37-37 off that. And then you talk about the play where Blackhand was right in front of the overshield. They didn't expect the window spawns to be that close from NAVI, and because of it, they're kicking themselves. If they're able to get that 1 round of slays, they win the series.
Close, but not quite close enough, and it's one of those that I think Blackhand may lose a little bit of sleep over. It could have been their opportunity to try and take that seed off of NAVI, but today is not their day. NAVI still persevere, they still get through. Let's see what Lottie and the rest of the guys have to think about that one.
Thank you so much, Josie and Gaskin. Yeah, it was very close, maybe too close if you're on the side of NAVI here. We wanted a good game. We knew these guys would match up really well. I didn't think it would come down to seriously wire moments where it really could have been swayed either way in one small decision. I need to quickly open things up here with the Oddball, because something that kind of shook me there was how messy of an objective game that really was. Josie, we were all watching in the green room, and it was just so different to what we were expecting, I think, from this kind of level, especially from NAVI's side as well, because Blackhand not only won the Oddball, but they were extremely messy with the win too. So the fact that NAVI could have capitalized on so many different mistakes from their perspective as well speaks a lot about the fact that Blackhand won that.
Well, what we're always saying about NAVI is they're a team that are structured and they don't thrive generally off of fast pace. It's normally setups and strategy. Well, I didn't see any strategy in that Oddball game at all. We've seen decisions where the ball went goal pipes. Lundy had the ball, he was last player alive. Mighty's sitting glass. He decides to run long haul C plat, and the ball is there to be killed. And you cannot make mistakes like that against teams. Blackhand have been top 4. These aren't top 12 players. These aren't top 16 players. We need to see something better from them, because what's happened here throughout this whole time is NAVI have left the door open and made the mistakes, and Blackhand punished them time after time, and they've only scraped through this series because they've won a couple of Slayers. All the objective game types, bar one, went to Blackhand. They played out of their skin, and I have to say Glory was carrying at times, and the rest of his teammate, Ebby, played monstrous at times. So I'm really disappointed for Blackhand, because it was there to be won today, and what a shockwave that would have sent.
It certainly did send a shockwave, I think, with everybody here, to be honest, in terms of how close that one was. Bravo, in terms of NAVI, what they were able to accomplish here, obviously winning the series, it did go all the way to Game 5, but some of the things that might have impressed you going forward.
Yeah, I think still a lot to be happy with, right? They came here in this first series on the main stage to do one thing, and that was to win this series. They've got that dub, and I think now they have an opportunity to look at the games moving forward, look at the game types in these series that they still have ahead this evening and tomorrow morning, and see what they need to focus up on. Indeed,
and we have an opportunity to look at one of the players that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. Somebody who's been impressing us so much. It is Mighties from NAVI. I am so excited to have you on the desk, sir. I'm a bit of a fan, I've got to say. You've really turned this roster around, and what you've managed to do in such a short period of time is pretty amazing. You're an incredible player, obviously, individually talented, excuse me. But in terms of the dynamic of this roster, you've really changed things. How are you feeling you're fitting into the team?
I think it's amazing. I'm really happy that I got an opportunity to play with these people, of course, and I feel like they're all like big coaches and big brothers helping me improve myself as well, since I haven't played too much Halo myself. And they're making me a monster, and I want to just thank all of them, and I'm very happy to be here and to play.
What were the comms like heading into the team? Obviously, they were like, hey, look, we want to pick you up. This is happening. We're becoming, you know, a unit here. What is it like as soon as you get on the squad? What's the chat like? You know, hey, Mighties, what are you good at? What do you like to do? You know, what are those conversations like to be had ahead of something as big as Valencia here?
Yeah, well, the conversation was actually really nice. They actually gave me all the freedom that I wanted. They literally, I asked them at the start, the first scrim, like, what do you want me to do? Anything special? And they were just like, just do your own thing, and you're going to be completely fine, and we'll look after you.
Well, you fit into this team like a glove, it must be said, but let's talk about the series at hand, what we just seen. You've left a lot on the table there, and Blackhand almost made his pay. You need to come out for the rest of this tournament and start playing a lot better, because leaving things like that to ascend to the likes of Quadrant, you're in big, big trouble. So there's a lot of things you need to improve on for the rest of the day.
For sure. Yeah, no, I think this was really, like SLG said before, a warm-up for us. Blackhand have already had a series, and they know what has happened. This was our first series at LAN, of course. And for me, I'm still a bit shaky. It's my second LAN, of course. But I think in a while, we're all going to pop off.
I mean, sorry, Andy, you go.
I insist, Mark.
Okay,
I'll go after you.
I mean, I can see you're a bit nervous up here.
Yeah.
The gameplay did not look nervous, though. And
okay, good.
I mean, I want to kind of get your thoughts on what that series is like as a new player, right? Because that is an intense series. You know, your first series with the team on the main stage.
Yeah.
When you go into those nail-biting game 5s, I mean, even from one series, how much do you think you've just learned as a player on LAN here with your team, going through a series like that heading into the rest of the games?
I think it shows that we can do it. Even on our back foot, when we're down and everything's looking like we're going to lose, we can bring it back and keep our composure and play our game, actually. So I think we're going to be able to do that. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think eventually, when we're all ready, we're going to make a show for sure.
Totally. Talk to me about that, the last few kills in that live fire Slayer. You have Jimbo back tower with a repulsor and a snipe. Kimbo was there to get the kill. Luckily, Jimbo's intended repulsor, somehow it's Lunny who's jumping, sends him off. What were the comms like in those last few moments and down to the wire?
It was actually quite hectic, because I was on B and I saw 2 spawn like back tower mud.
Yeah.
And the team was pushing over to C, so I knew that they were gonna come, so I just gave a couple shots and sat tight and wait for the call to just go in and go on heavy.
Sure.
And it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. In the end, it certainly worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Congrats.
It did indeed. Mighty's last question to you, man. We saw you pop off at the end of that series. It meant a lot to you to get that win. Obviously, it was a really difficult one for you guys to start things off. How much would it mean to you coming into this roster and managing to take the entire weekend with this new team of yours?
I think it will be insane. My first EU event, to win it will be crazy. I think we have what it takes as well. When we're all playing our game and we're all A-focused, I think we can take any team here.
I love that confidence. That's exactly what we want to hear. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck. Congratulations on that really, really nail-biting series win there. And I got big faith in NAVI this tournament. I think you guys are going to go fast. Thank you so much. We're going to head to a break right now, but when we come back, we have plenty of action on the main stage. We're actually going to be seeing J-Lings versus a Wobbabobs, a team we saw earlier on. Can they get it done this time around, or are J-Lings going to be a little bit too difficult to take down? We'll find out right after this.